Hey guys, I don't know what's going on. Little Miss Cheney is MIA. So I'm going to share this. Oh, there this bitch is. I'm going to share the link around. Let's let people get in here. Oh,
I was like, let me in.
fancy fucking seeing you here.
Let me in the fucking house. I was like, Marky Mark on fear.
I was just like, who the hell does this bitch think she is showing up late?
I was ready. I was born ready. Like Pee Wee Herman.
Okay, I'm
Ugh,
sharing this
I
link
always
real
never know what
quick.
I'm gonna look like until I get on here. I need to invest in more mirrors. Maybe
More
not.
mirrors.
I
Hall
need
of
to see my
mirrors.
stupid, silly face.
Okay,
Let me
how are
just
you,
hold you.
doll?
I'm doing all right. How are
How are
you
you,
doing?
Cruella?
I'm doing okay. Hold on. I have to change the view of this. I cannot look at my stupid head.
Okay, I'm sharing this. Let's see, let's
I have to
see.
put you in the middle.
Put me in the middle, baby. Put me in the middle. Let's see, let's see. Share a link. If you're here, class, talk to us, ask us questions, say something.
Let me grab my journal.
Okay. We've missed you. How was your weekend? All right. I think I've shared this about everywhere that I can share it. Okay. All right. I need to pop this chat out.
Let me pop this chat out.
Pop my chat out. You're just so horny. You make anything sexual.
You can put innuendo on anything.
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 Anything. Okay.
I'd like to check my balance, please. Oh, would you like to check your balance?
Balance. All right. I need a pen.
Uh-oh. I need a
Oh,
pen.
ay, ay, ay. Where do we begin?
Hi,
Where
happy
do we
Sunday.
begin? Happy Sunday. I thought I was never going to get home. Go Vols.
I know apparently that was an exciting game down here too.
Apparently it was. I got so fucking drunk yesterday. I fell asleep and didn't even see the end of it. It was like true Maria fashion. For example, on my 21st birthday, as a Southern sorority girl.
Debutante.
No, I was not a debutante. A sorority girl. We would like make signs for each other a lot on your birthdays. It'd be all the different things you're supposed to do that night and like check them off. And you had a marker and you wore it and all this stuff. And you just wanted your friends to make you this like great sign for your birthday. My 21st birthday and my 22nd birthday didn't even make it out. I was asleep.
And you're a blackouter when you drink, right?
Yes, brownouter, blackouter, so bad. So bad.
That's so interesting. I've
Lights
never
out,
been one of
baby.
those people.
Lights fucking out. Who knows who's driving?
That is an
Actually,
interesting question.
this is funny. Okay, so I can't tell you what my real name is, but I can tell you that my mom was going to name me Cecilia Renee. And so sometimes I say, like, when I brown out, like, who was in control? That was Cecilia. Who knows what that bitch was up to?
Cecilia Ray coming in.
Renee. Don't call me Ray.
Sorry, that was my Southern.
We'll talk about him later.
Cecilia Ray.
This is Cecilia Renee. I used to want to be named that and
Cecilia. I like those classic kind of names. Like I like the name Eleanor and Cecilia and Grace. I like these classics.
Are you aware of like an alternative name that existed for you?
No, I don't think there was one. I know, and I have a name on me. I know it's like whatever. It's kind of an odd name now, but
No, I like it. It's cool. I'm
it
here for it.
wasn't always cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was so weird. It's like I have all my names are last names. You know, some people have all first names. All my names are last names. I'm the girl with 3 last names.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so this is episode 99. And this actually was originally going to be a solo episode. And I just wasn't fucking feeling it last week. So here we are, baby. Together
99.
Again. 99. Just kind of like a mirror of each other. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of the 69 and the cancer and all that. But
or it would be 66, like a 99.
Right.
66.
I just meant 99 were the same birthday, so it's like the same digit. It works for this.
Yeah, 369 minute.
I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like astrology, and I don't really care either way how you feel about it. To me, it's like our code in the simulation. I say that a lot. And Cheney and I have the same birthday, if you don't know. And I just feel like our code, like if you and I are like not real and like we're Truman and we're programmed, like our entire lives are programmed, we're literally running on the same loop. Like
it's pretty close.
The little parallels. Weird.
It's not like entirely the same, but it's like you say sometimes like the architect sets up where you kind of have free will between points.
Yes, there's like anchors in your life.
Yeah, it's like our points are always the same.
Yes.
Like our free will in between and what happens is totally different, but we have a lot of like similarities.
You know, one of like the big themes for me, this is going to be the theme in this solo podcast, but I think you were like one of the best people to talk about it with because, what do we do literally every single day? But like dissect and like nitpick every potential like detail of every potential situation that we encounter. But the other day you were saying something, you were talking about work, and you were talking about how you were going to give your boss potentially like 6 months of time. And then you referenced how, 6 months of time, that's kind of how we view time these days. And like time seems to be just kind of progressing through these like 6-month blocks so quickly. And we're approaching our birthday. And that normally puts me in this kind of like reflective period. And I've been feeling a lot of pressure lately from no person other than myself about just like time. And so I'm thinking about like the conversations that we had literally a year ago. Like a year ago today, I met Mr. California, and like just looking at everything that's happened within the last year and all these kind of like failure. I keep classifying all my love life stuff as failures, and I'm looking through it in like a very negative lens. And I had this like whole moment with myself last week, and I've been journaling. I'm going to tell you about that here in a second. I just want to stop talking so much, but
don't. You're fine.
I've just been putting some pressure on myself about, okay, a year has passed. What have you accomplished within that year? What do you have to show for yourself? What's different? What lessons have you gathered? And I was almost like thinking a little like negatively, like, what is different? Like I have a series of like hilarious stories I could tell you about like the trials and tribulations of love. And I have a lot of chaotic craziness. And I was just like getting down on myself. And then I was just like, wait, why are you doing this? Like nobody cares. You're the only person that's doing this. You're the only person looking at yourself as your birthday approaches in some sort of like lens of negative accountability, like I needed to be doing something. You know what I mean?
Like the arbitrary number of uh you graduate college at a certain age and you have a certain amount of success at a certain age and you have a certain size family at a certain age and you have the biggest Christmas tree on your block at a certain age and all the lights that you put up at a certain age and like your kid's the smartest or fastest at a certain age and you have the biggest retirement at a certain age and your trips are better at a certain age. It just seems kind of like a weird, we are our own Facebook feed of, how everybody's just putting up their own best life. Like, I don't have a Facebook, but if I had a Facebook, my Facebook feed isn't like, here's me in the morning with my gut hanging out and a greasy forehead. It's never those pictures. It's not like, here's the gross meal I just ate when I just put a piece of cheese and a pickle on 2 pieces of bread. Like, here's the
here's
gross
like my
meal.
depression breakfast.
Yeah. Here's me not showered for 3 days. I wish this was scratch and sniff. It's never that. We're putting up our best lives. And even though we all know each other is putting up their best life, we're all comparing ourselves to the fake best life of everybody
like we're
else.
aware of it and we pretend to acknowledge it, but we're still like, I know exactly what you're saying.
And so you are kind of looking at this Facebook feed in comparison of all the yous you didn't live out or should live out or where you're expected to be at the certain age. You're sitting on Facebook looking at fake best lives, comparing it to your own life, which if you are actually unbiasedly unattached to it and look back at it, like I had that moment today where you're like, holy shit, I'm lovable.
You guys, we were Kylie Jenner today, realizing some things.
Yeah. Like trying to cut with a knife.
Just like, oh, I can feel. I'm a real boy.
Yeah. But that's part of my waking up whole thing is like all these feelings is I feel like I always had my brain work and flow. All the water of the world always flowed through here, but I didn't get anything else about feeling other people. And so all the emotions that I have felt, I just thought were my own and let me figure out how to process. And now I'm like, oh, half these aren't mine. I don't know.
Well, and like you looking on Instagram and like watching everybody's lives and like getting older and like, holy shit, I'm about to be 35, which honestly, I don't give a fuck about. Like age doesn't bother me at all. And I want to talk about Prince and age. I think we talked about this earlier here in a second, but it sounds so like silly and cliche, but I got to stop like looking for these anchors, for lack of a better word. But it's the journey, it's not the destination. And I know I've said this a couple times recently on the podcast, so I'm going to say it again. I was complaining about something at one time on my stories within the last like 60 days, and somebody messaged me and they were like, you live the most incredible life. And I was like, fuck, you know what? You're right. I'm so ungrateful. I do live this incredible life. And I keep looking to like hit these like goalposts or milestones. And like, who the fuck cares about these goalposts or milestones? Like I keep looking at things in like terms of love only, like, oh, another night that I went out and I didn't meet someone, like, instead of looking at it like, oh, you've attended probably like upwards of like 20 concerts within the last year and you had an incredible experience at all of them. I don't know. I guess as I approach 35, like I've got to shift my lens more, like I got to put a different lens on.
Here's another one that you and I take for granted, and a couple of amazing people that listen, and they may be listening right now. People write me all the time and they're like, I wish I had friends like you and my Maria. And I'm like, how lucky am I that I have a friend like my Maria? Like, ding. And I get to have these amazing conversations and do it in front of people. Like do it in front of awesome people that then
Right. The
reach
people
out to me.
care that would watch and like listen to you when I talk about something like that in and of itself is fucking phenomenal
And they're
and hard to
also
grasp at times.
like, I feel like because they listen to a lot of people that listen to your show or my show, they've listened to so much about us. They know these nuances of us. And so it's funny to me when they like sense that you're in a way. You're a little down, you're a little whatever, a little
I'm a
up,
little
or
emotional. You
yeah,
watching my stories.
they sense that you're in a way, but then a lot of them out there energetically are really like line holders for us in a way that, you know, we might shout them out occasionally or just say it as a group, like lump people together. And I hate the word fan, like calling someone a fan. I hate it. It's so, I'm like, you're just listening to me talk. And if you weren't there to listen, I would never be able to say it. And so much for people like us, we have to hear ourselves say it. So we're like, oh, I just processed something.
Oh, that's
So it's
exactly what
like,
happened to us today.
yeah. So
But
we're lucky.
I keep like evaluating the last year, and I've had these like crazy experiences, and I keep asking myself, like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, how am I contributing to these situations and like to the degradation or the devolution or whatever you want to call it, or what like vibration am I putting out there that this, sorry, I have a hair that it's Peyton's hairs. That's his one fatal flaw. He fucking sheds everywhere. What am I doing that's putting out this frequency, this vibration? Because I feel as though I've done so much work lately. Like I am digging into the depths of like my shadow work and my soul, and I feel like I'm positive and I'm not negative and I'm putting out all this good juju, and I go out and I get fucking like approached to have like a threesome, just like, what am I doing here? Is this me? Like, do I need to stop wearing my heart on my sleeve, and like literally thinking that I'm going to meet the love of my life, like in my, like, are you my soulmate? Are you my soulmate type of thing? And so I was really like thinking, like, is this the lesson that I should have learned this year, that like I'm kind of the problem and like my style needs to change? And then I thought about it and I was like, no, that's not fucking true at all. But I think the lesson was like the universe showed me moments of magic this year, like moments of true, like the essence of the universe. Like a year ago today, meeting Mr. California in Knoxville, having this like incredible night of an experience. Like, did it end up the way that I wanted? No. Did my heart get hurt in it? And like, should I have pulled back a little more than I did at some point? Yes. But it was this magic and like
And
just
you got exactly what you asked for at that time in your life. And anyone that's listened to your show, you wanted a perfect meet cute. And he was it. You just weren't asking for the whole list yet. He forced you to want more than the meet cute. And then you had a list. And then you got met with Ray Liotta with some of the list. But then you're like,
thought the list was
oh,
fulfilled.
yeah. But then when you re-looked at it, you were like, huh, but my priorities of this list are way different, of where certain things would be and where other things would be and what would be important to me. And it's like, if I look at it, you are a powerful manifester and kind of got everything you asked for this year. You just weren't precise. And I also, it's like, you don't really know. Like, we could keep talking about like the LARPing of like we're you live action role play whatever day you're in right now, like whatever day you go through. Like, I live action role play my little sous chef, and you live action role play anonymous, not so anonymous attorney. And we do these lives. But if you wanted to, you could walk into a different life and uh LARP a car salesman, or LARP a stay-at-home mom, or LARP, we just pick the thing. It's so funny. Anyway, we pick the thing and we just decide to become the thing. And it's weird that really right now we're in a place, and maybe it was the virus of it all shut down, or maybe it was us being locked down, or actually having, no matter how much freedom we actually lost, it was actually like, whoa, this is the first time we felt that loss. That we're like, what do I want to live action role play? And they usually tell us with manifestation, like you have to have this goal, this goal, and this goal. Like, where do you see yourself in a year? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in this? And the new thing that I'm asking myself and asking my friends, and this is why I can only commit to 6 months of my life at a time, honestly, is because these dates, that these Christmases and Valentines and birthdays and things, that this wheel, that this spokes on a wheel, I feel like the Khaleesi, around and around it goes. And it's just, we keep doing these things and we're deciding in between these spokes what us we want to live action role play. And I'm kind of over the spokes. Like I want to break the wheel, you know? So it's just like, I don't know.
I saw some clip on TikTok or something, and it was an interview with Prince, and the Prince was talking about time and birthdays. And I think somebody was asking him how old he was, and he was like, I don't know. Like, I had one birthday, and that was the day I was born. And all the other birthdays after that are just kind of going. I don't know. He was just like, if I didn't count my birthdays, how old would I be? Like, I would be as old as I feel. And I like, he was basically saying, like, the more that you keep counting, like, the more that you age yourself. And if we're going to go down the hypothetical that we're in the holographic universe and this is a simulation and it's a video game, then, like, if I keep being like, oh, I'm 35, oh, I'm 36, oh, I'm 40, oh, I'm that, like, then yeah, I guess I will age myself. I don't know. It was just an interesting perspective.
And I loved it because for me, I'm obsessed with like Mary and the Mar and the sea and the moon and Diana and Artemis. And so there is an ancient spell that a whole bunch of magic people do. And if you do this spell, you're a magic person. If you've ever made a round cake in the shape of a moon and put candles on it and made a wish, you did that to the goddess Artemis, and you made that wish and offered her up your next year. So she'll grant your wish for a little of your youth, maybe. And so I just think this is really interesting. Here's one of these normal everyday things that we could also, but we can put it off toward a later part, of something that isn't inherently bad. It's what your intentions are.
Ooh, 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 yes.
Like just a simple form of, it's magic. It isn't black magic. It isn't evil, but we can talk about that in a minute. But I also think the Artemis thing of like Prince saying that, and your actual birth date, which we could get into the whole like maritime law of your birth certificate and all this stuff. So in like ways they could use your spell, we could get into them wanting your teeth and your like tooth fairy type weird dental records
fucking
all the time, and
offering our teeth
x-rays
up to the little fairies and the elves of the world.
Yeah, it's so crazy. For dollars,
What
for
a
different
fucking
currencies.
world we live in.
Dude, it's too much. But then with the Artemis moon mission, which is Artemis and the moon mission, with that meta symbol, which is also the figure 8 type infinity symbol. And so then you're like, if we're shooting this rocket around the moon, like somewhere are they trying to turn the next cycle of the moon? And I don't know. There's too much with the moon. There's too many conspiracies that go in my head once the moon's brought up. I'm like crazy. I'm crazy.
We're all
I have
crazy.
Tourette's of
I want to
conspiracy.
talk about, I'm not going to talk about crazy yet, but I do want to talk about the word crazy and the perception of crazy here at some point. We're going to come back to that. But I guess I struggle lately. Like, we were kind of just talking about these anchors and these points in between and the journey and manifesting. Like, I can't find the balance between, you were talking about manifesting like 3 things or something like that.
Yeah.
Where do I begin manifesting? Where do I end manifesting? Where does detachment come along? Like, where does dissociation come along? Like, I don't know how to, like, I am a fucking powerful manifester, and I have some of the things I can do, or I don't know how I do them, but I do. But I just, like, I don't know how to balance, I want to be in love, but I also need to detach from love. But I need to make a list of everything that I want. But then I make a list and it's not detailed enough. And it's just, I don't know.
I have um there is a podcast called Rogueways, and Lindsay, the host of that, she uh way back when, like in my spiritual awakening, now it seems way back when, but it was before all the whole, you know, before BC, before the words we're not allowed to say so we don't get pulled off the tube. um I'm trying to be better about these kind of things too. But one time she said to me, and it just sticks in my brain so much, that unintentional magic is sometimes the most powerful magic of all.
For
Because
sure.
sometimes the stuff we laugh at or cry at, that it, like you and me make a joke, or you and me make a meme and we put it out to other people and they laugh at it and they spread it and we like, people all get it in this way. It becomes this unintentional magic that permeates. In the idea of MK Ultra, like, where you and HB were talking about, like, the inception of cannibalism onto the zeitgeist, where everybody doesn't know it, but 10 years from now it comes to a head because they've laid all these different lines all out. I kind of think it's like that.
With manifesting.
Yeah, with manifesting, it's all just it's the unintentional stuff that you don't really, you write down the stuff. But then I have another theory. This is
Okay.
like really,
Tell me.
I feel like, how people say the Bible is the living word. And
The living word.
so if you take paper, and depending on what kind of paper you would have made however long ago, we would have pressed up different kinds of wood and different herbs, maybe, and maybe even different metals in some of it. We would have pressed certain paper together, and then we would have gotten ink from some living animal, from snails, from octopus, from somewhere. We would have gathered ink. So that would have been a certain type of alchemy. And then we would have had a quill from another living animal, a type of bird. And that would have been a different thing. And we would have written our word down. And then after we wrote all of our word down, and this is any word, we would have wrote this paper, this papyrus, this whatever, we would have pressed it all together, and we would have given it a spine. And after we gave it a spine, well, we have wrapped it in flesh, living flesh of an animal. And does that not put a spell that you are taking whatever you write in that thing and bringing it to life? And so our journals are important, all the stuff we're doing. I just think intentionally, we need to put the intentional power on our pen like it's a quill, and think about the quill. And our book, it's just a composition book, but you need to think about it bound in leather, because it can't be alive unless it has a spine and flesh. And so we're only living word. Like, that is what we are. We're the living word of God. It's not the only way any book becomes a thing, is it has to have this whole spell done on it. And no Bible or Babel is any greater than the other. It's the eye of the beholder. And so we're the living word of God. This is just a philosophy
I love
that I've
what you
had of
just
recent.
did there. No, that's interesting. I have always been the individual who really wanted to, like, have a Dear Diary situation, but just the Sagittarius in me could never fucking follow through with any, like, it was always something new. I'm always buying myself a new journal. But back when I thought I was going to be doing meetups all the time, I bought myself this huge, I like to write in like blank canvas pages. So I bought one. It's literally like this thick. And I was thinking I'm going to take it to like every city I go to, and the class is going to write in it, and it's going to be like my yearbook. And obviously that didn't happen the way that I wanted it to. But I told myself last week, I was like, okay, you're going to start journaling, and I'm going to do it in the weird kind of like freeballing way that I do. But you're just going to do something like, I like to like write the date, and like I'll write like the song that I've been listening to on repeat, or like lyrics that mean something to me. Like I just put all these like different thoughts all over the page. and I like it. Trying to get my shit together. I'm the type of
Yeah.
person that's writing it on 82 different slips of paper. So now that you're telling me it needs to have a spine and be bound, perhaps that's why my manifesting is so chaotic.
I
Maybe
know.
just because I'm a chaotic bitch. But
I have so many journals and I'm like, I need to be more intentional with everything. I feel like when I'm at work and I'm creating a plate of food, if I had tiny tweezers, sometimes I pick, I have a certain thing of petals and weeds and clovers. And if I had a tweezers, sometimes I just want a little pink on a plate. Sometimes I just want a little yellow on a plate. It's just a plate of, whatever appetizer I'm sending out. But it's so intentional. I'm like, I do this at work for these other people, this tiny intentional thing, because I want everybody to get it and be like, oh my gosh, before they even try it. Like if your plate looks away before you even try it, I want people to feel this way about their food. But then I'm like, shit. And then I just go through my own life, slapping cheese, like eating hot dogs.
You and I are
See how
the
I eat hot dogs?
queens, fucking queens of like do as I say, not as I do. You know? Like I don't take care of myself in any sort of capacity whatsoever. But like if you needed something, like I would be there to care for you at like a moment's notice.
I know if I was like, my Maria, I hurt my spleen and I need you to do 12 days of hot yoga and I'll be better. You would be like, I got you, boo.
I'll do
I
it
got
twice
you.
a day. Will I do 12 days of hot yoga just for myself? No. Will I cook myself a meal? No. But if all fucking 25 of you showed up at my house right now, I would make you like a 6-course meal with my eyes closed.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think twice about it. You'd be excited about it for a week.
What is it about self-care?
It's kind of beautiful when I'm doing my yoga and it's just for me, and I'm meditating and it's just for me. And I realize that even to get my fucking ass in the shower is just for me. And like to feel fresh to death and to get your hair done, like you get your nails done, that's just for you. There's certain things that I think we do self-care. We just need to acknowledge the things that are our self-care. And like I eat
I'm a
gummy
self-care
bears.
queen.
Yeah. And you just need to acknowledge it more. Like I need to stop being harsh on myself that I don't love myself here, because I do love myself and I treat myself very well here. And I just think that kind of, I heard somebody say this, last night, and it's a saying always repeated, where it's like, you can't save the world. You got to put your own air mask on before you can put somebody else's on. And yeah, but the idea of quote unquote saved is an infinite amount of ideas. Like if you were coming next to me and just running around with a samurai sword and I knew how to use the samurai sword better than you, I've put my samurai sword mask on and now I can help you with yours. And I think there's different aspects of life that some of us have fucking mastered. And we need to allow ourselves to help each other with that. And also not have this, like, some things you're really great at and other things you can be honest with yourself enough to know you aren't perfect there, you don't excel there. And I think because we're honest with ourselves about what we're good and bad at, that's the thing. Like just be honest with yourself and it's okay. Sometimes, like, if you were a doctor of some kind of thing and knew it better than me, whatever field that is, why wouldn't you be allowed to help somebody with that? So your 10,000 hours are your 10,000 hours. So some people have their masks on in a million places in life.
Somebody said, Gabriella said there's a dimension where Cheney has black hair and Maria has blonde hair. I did have blonde hair. I'm happy to show up. I don't know that I've ever showed that pic.
I've had black hair.
Yeah,
sure.
that dimension exists. Like
I've had a black
we
mullet.
are those people.
Like,
but on the topic of hair, it's just kind of funny that you brought this up because this was a thought that I was having the other day. If I were to wet my hair right now, it's naturally curly. I don't ever wear it that way, but it is. So I blow dry it every day. And then I make one of two decisions, that I either straighten my hair or I curl my hair
Mhm.
which, I know somebody's going to say you have curly hair and you curl your hair. It's two different things. But as I was getting ready and I was thinking about all the time that I put into this shit, like, isn't it so funny that like I have to get up and wash my hair and fix it every day, that like I spend like 30 minutes on that every single day. I don't know. This was just like crazy for
No,
me to
like
think
just
about the other day. Like I paint my face and I fix my hair for hours every day. That's so silly.
you need to change your either this is what needs to happen because this is in my little world what I do. Like I don't get ready the same way as another woman, but I spend time dyeing my hair. I cut my
Right.
own hair. I fade my own hair. So I just like spend my time doing my hair all in a clump, like all at one time. But when I'm doing that, I treat it like my war paint. I treat it like my vibe. Like whether it's the small scale of I'm getting ready for work and I'm brushing my teeth and I'm, you know, I don't even know what things I do to myself. Like, but I think those things you just need to treat it like you're getting ready to go out into the
Oh, I know,
world
I know.
and
I
be a
take care of
magic.
myself. Don't get me wrong. Like I
You
I'm
think
I'm
it's
doing it.
you're
I
like,
just
what
think like
is
the
this?
whole thing of it. I'm like
It's
staring in
crazy.
the mirror, curling my hair, just like, this is insane.
All the stuff is insane.
It's all so insane. Like I remember playing The Sims when I was a child, and like, your little Sim would wake up and you'd send it to the bathroom and it would go to the shower and it'd go to this, and it was taking all of this time to like, was it gonna get out the door and get like, were you gonna make it happy and check all the boxes before it had to go to work or school? And you didn't. And that's like me now. Like I don't get to check all the boxes before I have to go to work. I don't know. Life in reality is
You're
just,
like, that sim is going to be so hungry. It's not going to make it through its work shift without it being in the red hungry. And it's probably definitely going to have to use its bathroom before it starts its
I don't
shift.
know. I just like, the world is so crazy to me, the way that we participate in it on a
I,
daily basis. Sometimes I
every
just have
single
to be
time I
like,
drive,
am I taking crazy pills?
it's the REM Everybody Hurts video. That's what I think about the whole thing, where you're just sitting in a car driving to something, and then you look over and realize all those other people have lives and existence and are just driving to something, and we're all participating in this like rush hour we all stop at this red light because it's an invisible rule that we all got this license for and we paid for it so we could have this thing that runs dinosaur juice through it and we can drive.
Okay, these are thoughts that I have. They're so basic, but I'm just gonna share them with you.
This is our basic bitch moments that we're having
I
right
was
now.
driving from Nashville to Knoxville, going 90 miles an hour as I do, and I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. Like I'm in this huge,
Just
thousands
deadly.
and thousands of pounds of metal going 90 miles an hour with all these fucking idiots around me who are looking at their phones and not like, I was just like, this is crazy.
It's nuts. I'm like, it's insane to me the responsibility that driving is and how everybody is just so comfortable doing
And
it
it's
all the
so
time.
like muscle memory, second nature. I'm fucking driving with my knee.
You're the same amount relaxed driving that you are in the shower. What is
Oh
that?
yeah. I like,
Driving with my
reality is
knee,
so absurd.
looking
It's
at my
so
phone.
absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy. But there's a store that a truck drops off different items of things from all over the world that are all in a store that all these people go into and get their things and put them in a metal thing with wheels. And then we're like, beep, beep,
Have you
beep.
ever
It's nuts.
considered how many things we
Naked monkey
purchase?
shit.
We purchase so many things just to contain things. Have you ever thought about that? Like everything we buy contains other
Containers,
things.
dressers, containers, boxes.
Bowls.
We
Like
got to
we're
get
always
organized.
purses. We're always containing things. I don't know.
We can't
These
contain
are the
ourselves.
wild, weird thoughts I have by myself. Okay. Okay. Are we dressing up for Halloween?
I feel like I have to work during the Halloween parties. but I'm
Okay.
off for Halloween-ish time, but I would dress up.
Here's the thing about me.
I always dress up. I always pick something with teeth. I'm teethy.
I was never the slutty girl at Halloween.
You were never the sexy blank, sexy
No.
Medusa, sexy firefighter.
No. Like I was never like going out of my way to be those things. So I feel as though I have all these like ideas in my head that I've like never truly capitalized on because I was just not really that girl. And I feel like I was an NPC for a great deal of time in my 20s as well. Anyways, I'm just at this point where I'm saying, fuck it. I'm doing whatever I want whenever I want. So I'm going to participate in Halloween, even if I end up going out by myself, which is probably exactly what will happen.
Maybe you can call Morgan Stanley and see if he'll dress up.
He would be a great Gomez. I wanted to be Morticia
But maybe for
at
your
one
other
time.
costume, he'll be a good Beetlejuice.
Nah,
He ain't
nah,
fun enough
dog.
for that.
He texted me today. It's weird that you brought him up.
He just seems like he legitimately could because he's just so like meh. He's easy. He's the easiest dude for you to hang out with. And like an arm candy, go to places with him. You like similar music.
Yeah, I'll probably still go by myself though. Is anyone else dressing up for Halloween? What are you going to be? I've wanted to be Miss Argentina from Beetlejuice my entire life. So you know what? Fucking painting my skin turquoise this year. It's going to
I
be
love it.
epic.
Miss
And
Argentina.
I've always wanted to be fucking Rufio. Rufio. I couldn't do it. Fucking bangarang, baby. I bought myself 2 leather vests. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, you're saving up all the costumes. I just feel like we get to a place eventually, like the same way, like for real, it'll be October 32nd and they'll start putting out Christmas shit. And so can't we just have all of October be we dress up? Like, can we just pick
Can
theme
we just do that
days
all
or
up? I mean, that's the one part of the sorority life that I enjoyed is I love a good themed party. Like I love a good date party, you know? So I like
I'm a
throwing parties all
person,
the
I'm
time.
like, yeah, I don't care. Pick a color. Let's all wear it. I like red or be red. I like pink parties. I like white parties. Pick a theme. I'll go. Like, don't do the same old themes. Everything can't be white trash and 80s.
I would
Get
like to be
clever.
Rufio and I would like you to be my Tinkerbell or Pan or to have the huge curly wig and be Hook.
I don't mind pirate life. Tinkerbell would be like if there was
Come on,
some
baby,
way
let's cosplay.
that if there was some way I could do Tinkerbell but be like disgruntledly
Lesbian
them. Yeah,
Tinkerbell.
yeah, like disgruntledly, like still in the wings, like still have to have the glitter and the wand in the same outfit, but just like a flannel.
Like a green corset and a fairy tutu
Yeah,
with like a flannel on top.
all the same shit that it's like Julia Roberts wears in whatever, and then like something stereotypically lesbian. I
Okay.
don't know why I said flannel, but
Maybe
I feel
next
like
year.
we got to take it back from the Proud Boys. Us lesbians got to take back that flannel.
Maybe next year. Okay.
Peta, I feel like I've been Peter Pan in
Oh,
life.
Peter. I'm
Sandy
gonna be Rufio
Duncan.
though. I'm gonna be saying fucking bangarang all night long, even if it's just by myself. But let's see what else. Maybe sometime last month, I talked on my stories about how I took that little break from weed when I went to Guatemala and my dreams came back.
Uh-huh.
And so I was talking with the class about, maybe we should do a fast sometime. Maybe we should see how quickly our dreams come back. I have not implemented a fast. I have not done anything differently, particularly, but I have observed that I have been dreaming more. Like I can recall my dreams more so than before. Are your dreams eliminated by weed?
I have no dreams. And I have done the month fast just for my dreams before, and it doesn't really do anything to me. If I sporadically dream, it doesn't matter about the weed. I'm just going to dream regardless. I find that if I nap a lot more than normal people, and I don't sleep more than normal people. I just get my sleep in like increments, like smaller increments. I find like for some reason, like during the day, when it's like that short, 45-minute hour, I'll have a dream. But I'm not a big dreamer. It's not my superpower. I'm in awe of it.
I always find that I dream better. I lucid dream, especially. I'm much more aware when I'm napping. But I don't know. I dreamt about my sister. My sister and I don't have a relationship anymore. That she's pregnant. So that's interesting if that comes true. And then like last night, I was having some insomnia and I stayed awake from like midnight to like 5 a.m. But I was kind of in and out. And I kept seeing like red and blue lights on the ceiling. And I really thought that they were real. And at one point I got up and I went and looked out the window. I was like, is somebody getting like, was there a robbery? Do I need to go make sure my car is locked? And it was just not real at all.
You've told your audience about your blue light.
Right. Not in a long time, but yes.
Oh, well, if you don't mind, if you
No,
should
no,
tell
no.
them.
Oh, okay. So maybe listen to the second half of episode 33 if you want to get real deep into it, because this will sound what somewhat fantastic and outrageous and unreal if you haven't heard of it before. But I can basically like conjure a blue light in front of me when I want to. And through my whole saga with the dude that I met and the movement that catfished me and then assaulted me and stalked me and this whole crazy saga in episode 33, he showed it to me and made me think that it was his, but it's really mine. And it's yeah, a weird thing that I can do. Where were you going with this? Maybe that was my light this
I
morning.
don't, yeah. And, we've just talked about, you know, not necessarily corresponding with it, but like recognizing it, uh, playing with it, so to speak. And somebody was telling me they have like a green light that they see. It might have been Layla, and
Yeah,
that
she just mentioned it in the chat.
she expands it into like a portal that she feels like she can almost walk into. And so I feel like I was texting you of recent, like, have you ever thought about expanding yours? Have you ever thought about like, do you blow yours up? I've asked you before if you've tried to change its color. And so when you said a red, blue and red light, I was like, because I have meditated on that this week on your blue light. And I was like, I'm just going to change its color and I'm not going to say anything about it unless she says something to me. And so right then I was like, am I going to say this on air? Like, it's
Say it,
fantastical.
baby.
I know we're here, but I was like, let me see if I can see this blue light. But I have to have my eyes shut. It was in my meditation, but just connect to it in a way.
I
And
recently
yeah.
made mine like a greenish yellow, but I don't know about you. When I close my eyes, I am one of those people that has an inner monologue. We could get into that conversation. I do not
Mm-hmm.
think abstract thoughts. I have somebody that's basically talking in my head all the time. And they say supposedly there are some people that like if you were to close your eyes and I were to say, Cheney, I'd like you to imagine a green apple. You can do that, but there are some people that supposedly can't do that. So baseline, I close my eyes, it's pitch black, and there's just blue. Like, and so I think my blue light's there. And then here, I found it in the shower. And so I think it's connected to water, some sort of like
God.
conductor for me.
It's a conduct. Yeah. I don't mean it. Water is God, but water is God. Like, it is the fluid that flows through every single part of our body, and it's like connected. I don't know. Go on. Sorry. There's something
But
bigger with it. Yeah. So I feel like,
so if I were
sorry.
to like focused but unfocused. Remember those old, what were they called? Those like seeing eye game things. What were they called? Where you would like make it real close to your face and then you would pull it out and you would kind of cross your eyes.
Like those blurry mall pictures.
Yeah,
I
what
don't
were
know
those
what.
things called? But that thing I do, and I feel as though I can like almost like see some weird things in my periphery. Like when I've been on psychedelics and done that before, I felt as though I could see like an entrance to the back rooms. That's that sounds
Um,
weird, but I swear I did. But so this blue light will fade into my eyesight and flash, and then it fades off, and it can intensify and I can move it around, and then the more I focus on it and the more I meditate with it, it will take over my entire vision. And it's like if there was a shade in front of your eyes, this shade is just being pulled down over, and then it comes back up and over, and it comes back up and over and over and over again. And this blue light is just like flashing and doing whatever the fuck I want it to do.
Almost like a lighthouse.
But the
Like,
crazy thing is when I was fucking mesmerized, hypnotized, whatever it was by this Constantine individual, he used to like fish for this information, and he was sending me heat in like the form of like Reiki or energy. I don't really know yet. And I could feel this like heat. And so he was like, I'm going to show you my blue light. And he told me about it. And then when he would like try to connect with me energetically, and he would ask me to like describe, he'd like, tell me what you're seeing. And I was like, why don't you tell me what I'm fucking looking for, dude? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing right now. And he brought this out of me. And it's like, I finally realized after a great deal of time, like, this is my magic. This is like my energy. This is some weird thing that I can do. It was never about him. He was trying to make me think that it was his, and that when we connected, he would show it to me. But that makes the whole story of episode 33 even more crazy, because then I'm like, how did you know I could do this? How did you know this was inside of me? Why were you asking these questions? I don't know. I probably sound like a fucking lunatic. But
we're here now.
If you made it this far.
Well, I was just thinking that was episode 33. We're at episode 99. I wonder what episode 66 was for the 369 of it. Because didn't you? No, you did the 555. I thought you did the 369 journal.
I've done them all, baby. Done them all.
Also, since you said Layla was in the chat and you also brought up those mall things, she always said something in the chat back when to give her like a phrase for now.
Oh, real quick, 66 was my doxed episode. So how apropos.
Totally. It's like your 369 of your like those are big deals for your like, that's kind of crazy. She says she calls it soft eyes. Like when you stare at one of those pictures in the mall, you let your eyes go soft and you let them relax in the same way when somebody's like, unhinge your jaw, unhinge your shoulders, soften your eyeballs, let them go loose, let them relax. That is the same way that you kind of look into that place. I'm not saying you, I'm more asking, but that's what she calls it.
Yeah.
But for me too, I find when I'm around certain energies, or if somebody says something, or if I'm getting a download or a message of something, like my eyes go soft, and sometimes they shut all the way. And then I also notice, because we're on things like this so much now about myself, is that I almost get a rapid eye movement in my eyes, like it's a dream, like I'm seeing something that my eyes would see in that dream kind of space. And I do feel like I see inside my eyes. But in the same way how you said most people, like if you say, picture a green apple in your head, I think it's such an easy exercise for you to say green apple. Say it in your head. Who heard you say green apple? What voice objectively heard you say green apple? How many voices heard that? How many energies heard you inside your head say green apple? Did you say it in English? Did you have to say it at all? Or did it take the amount of time that I said green apple? Like, so I don't know. These kind of ideas exist in my brain where I'm like, who knows what we're capable of? Who knows what kind of blue light that you might be capable of seeing? Or they say spirit guides or realms or gifts. Who knows?
The weird thing for me, especially after today, okay, but I grew up in this neighborhood and it had this golf course, pool, country club vibe thing. And it's this like constant in my life. Like so many things have happened around this piece of land. Like my grandmother has a house on it, my best friend has a house on it. You know, I worked there all of this time. But when I started getting into this type of stuff, I have these distinct memories of like my mom basically used to just like drop us off there. It was like our babysitter from like 8 years old on. And in this like side bathroom, you would sit down to use the bathroom. And unfortunately, the wall was literally just like right there, right here. And it
What does your
had,
knees do? Oh, your
uh,
knees are in the front.
yeah.
And then so if you
So
just are
the wall's
sitting,
just
you're
like
like,
sitting right there. No, right in front of you. Like your knees are like hitting the wall. But it had this wallpaper on it and it was this little pattern. I can't even remember what it was now, but with the way that it was spaced and you were just sitting right there, if you went cross-eyed and you did these soft eyes, I would see dimension in it. And so I'm at this place every fucking day running around from 8 years old on, and I would sit there and go to the bathroom and stare and do the seeing eye thing. And so it's weird now that like that practice, that I don't know, that method has like is now involved in this like weird blue light thing I see, is now involved in this like weird psychedelic experience, letting the light. I don't know. It's just strange.
I can't
Those like
do it, those
themes.
pictures.
Oh, really?
I can't do it.
You
I never
totally
been
can.
able to. I feel like one time for a split second I saw it. One time, like it's like I'm probably a control freak.
You know what I want to do now? It was really sad because there was like a major renovation that was done. I think it was when I was in college or maybe law school, and I came back and they had redone the entire inside, and so the wallpaper was gone. And I remember thinking back then, like, I wish I just had like a snippet of this wallpaper that I could like frame. Like, is that the entrance to like some, it's like this portal into my childhood doing this like ice. I don't know. It's funny.
It would be cool if you had it in a frame in front of your toilet now.
Yes, exactly. Like that's gonna be my new mission, is to find like a muscle memory of this wallpaper. I don't know. But it's just weird. Like I got engaged at that piece of land. I got married there. My mom got married there. I met fucking dumbass Ray there. I got my heart hurt this weekend, you know? It just is this. There's some energy to that land, I gotta say. Keeps
Seems
calling me
like
back.
it. Do you feel a sense of calm there?
Mm-hmm.
Does your grandma's
Definitely.
house have a smell?
That's so wild that you ask that, because I've been meaning to tell my mom this. But my grandmother's house does have a smell. But the wild thing is that last year my mom completely gutted it, like took it down to the studs, redid the whole configuration. It's not a big house. And despite all of that, the new walls, the new paint, the new floor, the new everything, it still smells like my grandmother's house. And
Is
I
there a
just
basement?
like, no, smell is just like huge. I think smell is so
Me
interesting and like
too.
the memories associated with it. And I meant to tell my mom that like this still smells like Nana's house. How is that possible after you literally rebuilt it?
Does she have any of the furniture or any of the Yeah, because
Like the
usually even like
fireplace is
fresh
the
paint.
same, but that's it. But even
Mm.
that was like resurfaced.
Gosh, and a fireplace is such an interesting thing. I'm just right this second that even if you see something like a dilapidated building fall all the way down 100 years later, the fireplace will still be there. And then uh, the alchemy of like what is burnt in there and the heat that it brings, and even like something so crazy like Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian having sex in front of the fireplace for the grandmother.
Why are they talking about that? I just
It feels like
I
slow
could have a whole
disclosure to me,
discussion
like the
on
cannibal
Kanye.
thing.
Like
I
I
wasn't trying to total hard shift, but yeah, like it's just like, fireplace. And that I like that you being like, that's the only thing that's the same.
so if you don't know, there was an article that came out last week because, you know, the Kardashians permeate all aspects of pop culture. And I guess it was probably some preview or clip from their show, but it was Kim Kardashian talking about how she told her grandmother that she and Pete Davidson had sex in front of a fireplace in her honor. And so that's out there. Then you have Kanye coming out and going on Tucker Carlson talking about stuff like this. And he made the reference, I want to say it correctly if I can remember it right, that like Kim used to be a good Christian girl, kind of, and that Pete was like a heroin addict around his kids, tattooing their names, and that they do this, and that like this act is somehow connected to like Judaism in some way, and somehow connected to like Zionism and like those type of references that he's making. And I find it so interesting that like Yeezy's kind of like talking some truth right now. Like it's not always the best presentation, but like some things that like we would say, we would stand for. I don't think it's a good thing. Like he's still an actor in all of this. Like it's gonna come around full circle to make us look stupid.
In a real like kind of glittery red pilled way, but I was really trying to logically think, what has Yeezy done with the exception of like the Jay-Z connection? What other things, like we don't have Yeezy in a dress, like all the normal symbolism that we could pull out. We don't have him at Marina's party. He is married to a Kardashian. He has a Arias, some, like he has connections to the Greek gods. Like he does have different kind of symbolism going on. But I don't know. I could have people I can get on the fence on to be like good guy, bad guy, but I also feel like Yeezy is controlled up like a Dan Crenshaw or a Alex Jones or a Joe Rogan, where there has to be this sect to catch people to get them to be a new Republican.
I no longer exist in a hypothetical where I am naive enough to think that there are good actors anymore. That's just me.
Yeah.
And this isn't the episode that we're gonna do it, but I think we're gonna do an episode within the next week where recently, as of late, I like to say things, we view things through varying levels of the psyop, from the glittery red pill to the black pill. We've been rather glittery lately in our conversations. So Cheney and I were going to do like a very much like a black pill episode. And I'm of the opinion that there's no such thing as like a good actor at this point. So I think it's almost a little not NPC, and I guess maybe the word is naive, but people in the movement like still think that there's a distinction, that like we can take some celebrities and actors and say that nothing applies to them. Like there's no way Kanye could be controlled opposition, but like yes, Alex Jones can be. Like, come on, guys.
Or
We're
Elon
all
Musk.
yes. But I think Ye is going to pull some things that we talk about and pervert them and make him look crazy through his like mental illness, like part of his story.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think he plays into the Trump versus Clinton. And I think like all the stuff he said about when he was going off on Instagram, bringing up the Clintons, I think that's to make us look crazy. I think that all plays into it. And then on the overarching long psyop that's potentially 10 to 20 years in the future, I keep telling you guys that Kim is going to run for president, and what they've been doing with Kanye and Caitlyn, for that matter, was all just testing the waters to see what the response would be. I think sadly, I think they would probably kill Kanye before he would ever actually say anything radical enough to
Too
shift a narrative.
detrimental. Well, he almost, in a weird way,
She's going
like,
to need the sympathy vote.
and he's saying things about her to confirm bias for the lowest common denominator of a quote unquote voter. So people that love Kim can say Kanye said she was a good Christian girl. It like gives these taglines that all people have is this narrative that's all wrapped up. And then Ski, when if you look up these pictures of like them and the sex in front of the fireplace, Pete Davidson, he has his newest tattoo is my girl's a lawyer. And so it's just like letting you know, like, oh yeah, Kim Kardashian's smart. Oh yeah, she's freeing these people. She's doing this.
Right. I mean, she has a whole, I mean, there's a whole arc of, when we go to law school, there are certain things that we learn to do, like, that are more prestigious than others. Certain, like the most prestigious thing would be to like be on the Supreme Court, to like be a judge. A students become judges. B students become, how did that go again? A students become judges. B students become professors. C students become lawyers. Something like that. But Kanye also came out and said something in one of his rants within the last 2 weeks where he was saying that he was basically kind of playing into like a collective conscious stacked altered carbon type of discussion. And he was saying that Kim is part Hillary Clinton, part Marina, what's her last name? Abramovich, and part Marilyn Monroe. And so then you wonder, in the Met Gala outfit that she wore, paying tribute to Marilyn, she wore another one of her outfits thereafter, the dyeing of the hair, losing all of that weight. Like, that's all a ritual,
And you
like
can conjure energies into yourself.
Right. So like, was she pulling like Marilyn into her? Like, is there some validity to that like statement of like, are they separating her consciousness, you know what I mean, and downloading a little bit of Hillary, a little bit of Marina, a little bit of Marilyn? Some high witch shit.
No, yeah, and they also like say like there's a part of trauma where they would have to kill something, they have to love something, then kill it to split their personalities at a younger age, and then their like baseline when they get to their youngest age that they're the most susceptible is their alter. Yeah, it's interesting with the Kardashians or these famous people all together. And like if they're moon children and they're made to be these alters, like we've talked about before, even saying that, it's like, Marina, what does that mean? Even in the 3D of it, like, okay, she's an artist. She's some kind of artist. And Marilyn Monroe is this
gotta watch season 6 of The 100, because in that one, like, there are two people in a consciousness at the same time, and they're like fighting to be like in control,
almost like split.
In the Britney Spears of it all. That's an interesting thought process, I think, to have. In the MK Ultra of it all, you hear Nicki Minaj talk about Roman being one of her alter egos.
Yeah, or Beyonce with Sasha Fierce. Even I think a perfect person to watch if you really want to watch this and almost see it happen quickly, and see Anna Nicole Smith, that old show on E. If you watch that show, you can almost watch different alters walk into this person as she's being filmed. And some of them are children, and some of them are seductresses, and some of them are, and it's pretty bizarre. Like one of them's masculine and mean. And people are like, oh, split personalities or bipolar or all these things. Like, sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan. Sure, Jan.
I want to ask you a couple quick ones, just that because we're on this zeitgeist of characters of like Kanye. I wanted to ask you a couple more little parts of the movie that are happening right now, and just what are your quick thoughts on it? Tulsi Gabbard and all her, and Gabbard and all
Tulsi Gabbard. Holy shit. Look at somebody who's jumping on the fucking bandwagon. She's got a great political consultant. I just can't,
It's making me crazy right now how much you kind of are, like, even with the hat. Like, you should be Tulsi for Halloween.
I've been saying it for a while. It would behoove some sort of political consultant or strategist to like listen to people like us and then get a candidate to like start saying some of that shit. And that's what it appears to be happening, in my opinion. But you guys, the two-party system is all about the illusion of choice. That bitch just wants to get fucking elected and she's going to do whatever it takes necessary. So, next.
What do you think about the Trump subpoena from the January 6th commission?
I don't care. I just don't
You don't
care. It doesn't mean anything. It's all fake. It's just another part of the Trump v. Clinton, another part of the 2024 election, another part of the whole Alex Jones, Sandy Hook thing that happened last week. Like,
that was actually my next ask. I'm so glad you.
It's like we have a psyop of Sandy Hook and the psyop of Alex Jones, and then we have the psyop of the defamation case, then validating the psyop that is Alex Jones and the psyop that is Sandy Hook. And so it's an interesting preview and that kind of First Amendment psyop that we talk about sometimes. And the government's always projecting and they're always doing something. They literally blatantly do something right here. And then they point and they go, oh my God, can you believe what you just did here? Like the whole Russian collusion, Hillary pointing the finger at Trump, like that was her the whole time. So now they're doing it here. And first off, he's never going to pay $1 billion. It's going to have a non-economic damages cap, but
he can't pay it to families that don't exist.
I mean, it's just
to the actor who was crying is the same guy. I watched him on the courtroom. No tears, no tears, no tears. I'm just like, it's the same. If there's a validation, the second there's two sides of this fake argument, like it just validates that this thing that we're arguing about is real to begin with.
Like think about history books, like we're sitting here watching something unfold and there's going to be history written about this like Sandy Hook thing. And like, how terrible was it that this tinfoil hat individual questioned it? And look, when he questioned it, he was punished to the tune of $1 billion, like that's wild. That's fantastic. It's crazy.
Isn't it kind of crazy too that Sandy Hook was written in the Batman movie, and then the Batman movie was also played when the shooting happened in Aurora, Colorado, and then both their fathers were attached to LIBOR, or like one of them LIBOR, I think both of them LIBOR, and then like time travel as well. So then the guy in Aurora, he is dressed as the Joker, and then the guy in the Boston Massacre is Joker. It's like these little, it's but so like
that's
ridiculous.
The simulation to me. That's the like perfection of the like synchronicity that like it's all connected like
or
that.
Adam Lanza just looks like a stretched out version of David Hogg. Like it's the same kid, and then we see David Hogg in the Parkland shooting, and then everyone's like, he's not even at the Parkland shooting. Like he's not even from here. Here's other things of him acting from
even
here.
Go here.
Yeah.
Mean Girls reference if you didn't get it.
I don't know. It's like part of it. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like such easy fuckery. And why do they keep it? It's like the normies, like showing the normies, like, come on. How do you not see this? But then does it matter?
Can you just see it play out one day? Like we're at a bar somewhere, we're at a dinner somewhere, we're with a bunch of like normie NPC people, and I say something questioning either Alex Jones or Sandy Hook, and somebody's going to look at me and say, I cannot believe, like, as an attorney that you would even have thoughts like that after that case. Like, weren't you aware of the defamation case in any capacity? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it validates this now. Like a psyop used to validate a psyop. Like, what a fucking world.
That's what it all feels like. Down to the Ukraine, down
Fakery
to the
to like proof fakery to like proof fakery.
lie on top of lie on top of lie. That's, I don't know
A
if I've ever,
lasagna of lies.
there used to be this like Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints commercials that would come on during Saved by the Bell. Oh, my camera froze during my eyes shut. um, but hold on. I might have to be right back. My thing froze.
That's okay. Speaking of Ukraine, oh, she left us, guys. Did you guys see that? I might have to pull this Instagram thing up. That citizens of Ukraine wanted to buy certain drones, and so they did crowdsourcing in order to buy kamikazes. And like within, here it is. Ukraine crowdfunds over $5.7 million within 8 hours of, quote, revenge fundraising. The revenge campaign launched after Russia's mass missile strike on the Ukraine on October 10th, and they aim to buy Ukrainian made RAM 2 kamikaze drones for the army. Like, in what fucking reality do we live in that you can crowdsource $6 million to buy kamikazes? Like, where is that occurring? Like, hi, I've got the $6 million account with GoFundMe. Can you guys transfer that to my account real quick? I've got to go buy some Bitcoin so I can buy some fucking kamikazes off the dark web. To whom do I deliver those to? Hello, Mr. Zelensky president, I've got a kamikaze for you.
You're taking crazy pills.
What existence is this? What? Like in the same week that PayPal came out and said that they're going to start fining people $2,500 for misinformation in like some sort of fucking ministry of truth that PayPal is going to create, we also hear that like some platform allowed $6 million to be crowdsourced for fucking kamikazes. What? It's like the polarity of the principles here, you know?
And what you have to believe, the levels of bullshit you have to believe.
Just wild. Wild, wild times. Let's see. We talked about Yeezy. We talked about weed and dreams and Halloween. I went to New York recently, and every time I travel, I feel super Westworldy and like super simulation vibes and super fake. And I don't know if this is just because it was New York City and I've been there before, and I'm like, I don't know, it felt very less simmy to me, if that's possible.
Less than me this time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're
like
just
I
more
wasn't
woke.
having any of my like weird, like I was like kind of like
Less loops.
I was like looking for it, like where is it? Where is it gonna start feeling weird? I don't know. They're so busy. Maybe you just can't.
Maybe a lot of power is on certain spots on the grid on the planet. And so they can run, like when you're in Guatemala, they can't run a lot of power. So you only have a certain amount of characters. But in New York, they have to keep a lot more characters. And John Lennon used to call it the center of the universe. And then
New
it's
York.
also, yeah, and then it's also the big apple. So it's like the
Speaking of that
symbology.
apple,
Yeah. The symbology of it is like a tourist field. You almost wonder. And then New York, York is one of those names that's thought of, it's, I just think America is where everything was started for real. So when they put new on it, it's like calling something great. And if we know history is one kind of lie and the news is one kind of lie, then the Great Pyramids aren't even close to the greatest pyramids you should be looking at. They just have the best advertising. And so New York is probably York, and that's why they are calling it new. And like District of Columbia is probably Rome, and like the Mormons were probably Moors that had their boats in a salt lake that dried up. Like we have all of it right in front of us. And so
Memphis.
yeah, the amount of Tennessee down the Chattanooga
Chattahoochee.
River, Chattahoochee River. Is that the one that goes from Tennessee to Florida?
Yes.
Somewhere I have to look this up. I wish I used my computer here like it was an actual computer, but I just podcast on it to screen share. But there was like all these headless goats found in that river, like
Now,
hundreds
are
of
you talking
headless
about,
goats.
you're not talking about the Mississippi. That's the
Not
one
the
that goes straight
Mississippi.
down. You're
That's
talking
the
about
one
the
that,
Chattahoochee that's in like East Tennessee that goes down into
yeah,
Georgia. Okay.
Georgia all the way to it ends up in Florida.
And
And
that's actually one of the rivers that that water area there at the Tennessee Georgia line. There's been this dispute between the states for like over 200 years. Georgia says that like we took part of their area and like prevented access to the water, and they've been trying to sue us for that for some time. Just like crazy water wars.
10 deaths, deci, like 10. We always have these ideas that we have these quote unquote Indian names on our cities and states. Florida's big for it. I know you have them up there, where I just think, nope.
It's all Egyptian.
And I just think it's truth in plain sight. They're telling us. So that it's like there's something about there, and everybody can look up this story. There's hundreds of headless goats found in this river. And this is all recent stuff going on. And they're just like, this is ancient Santeria. This is hoodoo rituals. This is, don't even worry about this. They're fluffing it off. So here we're seeing again, like if we want to pick these threads of a zeitgeist that they're implanting on people, so all of it comes together, we're seeing this rise of uh magic and people
practicing
it.
Santeria may be dumping headless goats in the Chattahoochee. What a fucking like line, you know?
And what's happening to the heads?
Hundreds of decapitated goats over the past few years.
Yeah, it could be a spell, but I also think what's happening with the heads. And the number one thing I would think, if I were to take those heads and we're going to try to see, we're making a ritual. So we're going to have helmets. So then you look into all the Rothschilds and you see them with the deer heads. But think if we all had goat heads, what's that like? That's like a Baphomet ritual. So they're like drying the skulls somewhere. And then what? And if you look up goat skulls, y'all, like y'all, that is their thing. I think they're doing some kind of spell, dumping the bodies, and then it ends in Florida. Florida is carrying some kind of energy right now. As a proud Floridian, it's carrying some kind of energy that I'd want to send some spell to if I were the evil day or whatever they got going on. Hundreds of goats. Hundreds.
Over a period of time. Like it keeps happening.
Where they're like, when it was 30, we just let that shit happen because we're like sometimes crazy headless goat things. But
here,
hundreds?
This is them trying to normalize it a little bit too. It turns out it was part of a religious ceremony for the followers of Santeria, a religion that mixes West African culture with Cuban Catholicism. We use a he goat as also a victory. Then we use a she goat for the baby, for the one, for also for the blessing. That is the significance of all the animals that we use, one of their people said. So it's just like, oh, okay, y'all, they were just celebrating.
And I don't want to get this wrong, but I also think there's this other kind of ritual, and it's a scapegoat ritual that they do. And they do it with their children, the elite. They do it with their children, and it happens. They take two goats and they adorn one goat with all this fancy stuff and treat it in a certain way and then kill it. And then the other goat, they like kick and beat and stuff, but honor it, or vice versa. They do this like really creepy ritual in it where like one of them, they put silver all around its neck and like, but it's like this they put all their bad energy on it and then treat it in a way. And it actually is like a scapegoat ritual. I wish I knew more about it in my head right now, but there is some kind of magic. And then the Santeria, it is when I was talking to a woman this week, she was explaining to me that it's like so much voodoo, or so much where if you take certain things, it doesn't matter what you want to label the ritual. It's your calling on the spirit of something else to assist you. And the repayment is the contract. It's
But
like,
I mean, doesn't that, I mean, that can go into the discussion that I think we probably both wanted to have about intention. You know, if in a hypothetical, I grow up on an island and I am on this island and I don't know anything about the world, I don't have any sort of connection to anything other than what's been presented to me on this island, no means of communication with the outside world. And if you came to that island and you taught me yoga, and you didn't call it yoga and you didn't talk about whatever connection to whatever god it might be, you just showed me how to do these poses and to like take care of my body in a very like low impact type of way. And if I practiced that for years and years and years, and I was this like pure of heart individual that didn't go out of their way to be a bad person, am I participating in Satanism unbeknownst to me? Like, all of that intention, all of my intention that went with that, does that mean nothing to like certain individuals, you know? And I'm not, when I say certain individuals, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. I don't care what God you believe in. I'm not here to make anyone feel bad about themselves or what they believe in or anything like that. I'm just so over the condemnation that I feel is like permeating lately, because I get all these DMs about it. Like,
yeah,
do you
me
think
too.
this? Do you think that? Like, should I be concerned about this? Like, am I really living this like Satanistic lifestyle? No.
From some of the sweetest, like best people that you have come in contact with too. Like
I'm
some of the
not gonna
best
name
energies
her.
out there that um have that listen to me on different platforms have reached out to me with questions because of certain cult leaders and gurus and certain schools of thought that they're taking part of now, of one person's aperture of their book and their good book, and they're allowing this aperture to corrupt their spirit in some way. And yeah, I think tools of discernment are really important with people. And I think actions have to be different than words for humans. And so, integrity and actions of who you are and who you've been should say something. So, I think people that have listened to me long enough anywhere know who I am. I am who I say I am, and you are who you say you are. I don't change my song every other week. I don't change my tune with the wind. I don't allow the next big energy to come in the room, or who is ever going to give me the most clout or money to change my beliefs or my connection to my source. I don't let, I'm not a weak, floating, dying leaf. I am a sturdy tree. And I think people see that and feel that. And I don't care about words like demon or devil or things like that. But I hear all that, but I've heard it my whole lifestyle just for being a lesbian. But when I see innocent, good, kind, God-fearing people out there be manipulated and taken by these charlatans, it makes me away that I want to flip a bank table. I want to find my inner righteous anger, like I'm Jesus, and I want to walk in and flip their bank table. Like, what are you charging interest for to these people? You're charging spiritual interest. You're a Zionist. That's what Zionism means to me. You're charging spiritual interest somewhere. So it's like there's people out there that the more you cover yourself in a more pure God, a more pure Christian, a more pure thing, I think the wrath and contract you have to answer to is a lot harsher. And when you call yourself other people's priest, father, messiah, guru, whatever thing, reader thing, you're taking an extra responsibility of that person. So when you change on whim and your word doesn't mean shit and your actions never follow through, I think people need to step back and look at who you are. No matter how pretty you dress it up or no matter how many tunes of music you put to it, I think people need to step back and be like, do these words have weight? Are these actually those person's thoughts? Are these actually those person's words? Or is this person just flighty with the wind and changes on whim? And I think people need to look at all their politicians that way and all their priests that way and all their internet personalities that way.
Everyone.
Because like real is real and it resonates. And some people say words that resonate, but they're not their fucking words. They're stealing things. They're stealing currency because it's cloudy and it's money. And
Snaps
so
for you,
I'm like,
baby.
I don't even need to say any names. People know what that is out there. And back when it was called a patriot, back when it was called but there's just some people selling a truth that's not their truth and it ain't real. And it doesn't mean it's not true. It's not their truth. And that's the shit I can't get down on anymore.
I'll say this once and I'll have this conversation again and again. To me, there is no such thing as an objective truth in this reality, especially when in the very basic, like even if you don't want to get like quantum physics with me and talk about like fucking string theory, you and I can each just I think most people would agree with me that like there's a law of conflicting realities, that you and I could be experiencing the same thing at the same time, observing it in different ways and have a completely different experience. You could say that just observing people, Democrats and conservatives experiencing the same reality in two completely different ways right now. Why are you laughing at me?
Because I'm just thinking of how sometimes we have these intelligent conversations, but sometimes you and I are on the phone like, how do I know your green's my green?
Oh, we'll get back to that in a second.
But it's the same thought. Sorry.
So if there is no such thing as an objective truth, how the fuck do we get on soapboxes and say like 666 is inherently the devil? And what else is another fucking example? Yoga is satanic. Yoga, if you do a position, if you contort your body into a certain position based on yoga, you are paying homage to a Hindu god that you don't even know exists, and that's satanic in some way. No, like
black and white checkerboard floors. Don't checkerboard inherently bad. Like, no, I think it's really classy and I want that floor in my kitchen one day.
Me too. Okay. Like in my fucking butler
southern in me. I can't
look
help
great.
it.
That fucking like Mackenzie Childs, like black and white checkerboard stuff is so fucking southern, and I don't want all of it, but I want a little bit of it. But you guys, 666, it is not inherently satanic. There is nothing that is inherently satanic, in my opinion, other than perhaps the idea of the fucking devil himself, which I don't think exists, only if you believe it. But that's
cows aren't
having today
satanic. They're just cows.
So to think that like my body in a tree pose, that's like the objective definition for like what that means, and like that objectively pays homage to a Hindu god, and that objectively is satanic. That's so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I don't like to say things are stupid, but like that's so stupid, and I'm so upset that like that discussion is like hurting people, and like that people are literally like turning away from
things they love,
stretching yoga,
stretching, breathing,
meditation,
belly breath,
and breath work. You know, like you can elicit DMT if you breathe in a like. So is Wim Hof? Wim Hof is fucking Satanism. Where does the line stop?
Are penguins Masonic?
Symbolism is everywhere, and
I'm like 666.
Do they manipulate
999 GGG?
Do they manipulate that and they make it a spell and people cast their illusion to it and it becomes that way? for sure. But on an objective basis, no, I just can't. I can't keep having this discussion. I can't. I can't believe that there are people that listen to that and that condone that and that applaud that and that might look at something like one of my friends, this God-fearing, good woman who takes care of her babies and is becoming a yogi, and for her to think that she's doing something wrong now because somebody on the internet said, I just can't. I just can't. Had to get on my soapbox.
I liked it.
I liked you, baby. You were the one that let it fucking rip just then.
Well, because I just get like some, we were just talking about how I can cook this meal for you, but I'm not great at necessarily cooking it for myself. I like now to take a saber to the neck for myself, whatever. But at this point, for my friends, the energies I care about, the direction the world is headed, it's a fine line that we walk, or at least me as a lesbian, because anytime I hear that thing, first they come for the blank and then they come for the, so it's like first they come for the Protestants and no one was, then they come for the Jews and no one was allowed to say anything. Like that whole poem. I always think first they come for the whoever it is and next they come for me. Like it doesn't matter what say. So when people start leaning too far in to this condemnation and everything's a sin and this kind of thing, that's the only way I see Handmaid's Tale happening. And that is my worst nightmare. Like that is, and I feel like a lot of women out there, it was like set up to be that way. They put it in the zeitgeist, so that would be the other form. But when people are following through with whatever concoction character the media is creating about you, and then you're LARPing the character the media is creating, I can't. Well, because first they come for whoever, and then they're going to come for me next.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you're doing. You shouldn't give a shit what I'm doing. Just doesn't matter. Be a good person. Put good intention out in the world.
I don't like people being shit bags, and I don't care how people get money. I honestly, I have a lot of friends that are amazing spiritual advisors and amazing at what they do. And if you have, give them, pay for your services, pay for your tarot readings, pay for your Reiki, pay for your, spiritual advisors. I love this stuff. Like you should support those people to be able to do those things. Give tithe at your church, pay your church to do, build homes in Haiti or whatever. It's your money. Like pay your currency how you see fit. Give it however you want. But I just feel like look at somebody's whole entire work.
We just got to stop judging people. You just got to stop judging and don't give a fuck about what everyone else is doing. Just doesn't fucking matter. Did you see that like all the snow crab in the world is dead?
I just kind of heard this.
90% of the snow crab in Alaska, like she gone.
And if there was a big rift, crabs crawl in big rifts. I'm just telling everybody that if there was a crack anywhere, if there's a kraken, if there's a hollow earth theory, crabs crawling in it isn't a weird thing. Another weird thing, if there's a Godzilla.
Oh, go ahead.
You need to eat. Go on.
Alaska snow crab season canceled as officials estimate disappearance of an estimated 1 billion crabs.
Oh my gosh, I wonder if Alex Jones had to pay into Sandy Hook families.
Alex Jones liquidated his interest in the snow crab industry to pay off the Sandy Hook.
He's like, and the snow crabs are gay.
But I mean, what could happen here? They could intentionally be removing this for some sort of psyop, going along with the elimination of all of the food processing plants that we've seen over the last 2 years. There could be something going on in the water. Watch the water.
And we have a between Russia, Alaska thing. It's right there, the Bering Strait.
An intentional thing to promote a climate change narrative. It could be, maybe they're about to fucking bomb us and they're going to go down in their deep underground military bases and eat crab for the rest of time. I don't know. I don't, if it's natural, if it's Mother Nature, it's still in response to something unnatural that's occurring, don't you think?
The weird part to me is that it's specified snow crab. It's not king crab. It's not, like there's a ton of other, it's not different kinds of crab that people eat. And there's even crab that come from that area. So why is the thicker shelled, huge king crab surviving? They're all in the same climate. They're on the same ocean floor. Why is the king crab making it, but the snow crab not? And then it's like the word snow crab. And then it's like snow cancer. It's like there's weird symbology there to me.
Speaking of snow, did you know that the world is about to run out of glitter?
Read this weird thing.
Uh,
Or if
okay.
you have it, or the
I'm going to
idea of the
give,
TikTok.
I've got the TikTok right here. So I think this actually happened in 2019, but the world has been on the bell curve of glitter. We're coming down on this end over here to where we're approaching a glitter shortage. And so in 2019, the New York Times is doing some investigating, and they're talking to somebody at GlitterX, and they're trying to inquire about why this shortage exists. And this person, Lauren Dyer at GlitterX, says because they don't want anyone to know like what the glitter is being used for. And so she was basically suggesting that there's some sort of third party, whether that be like a corporation or a government, but some sort of they, and that they don't want everyone to know what glitter is actually used for. And so this TikTok blew up and I shared it. And then I saw all of these references within the TikTok comments to a Reddit thread. So then I went back and I found the Reddit thread from 3 years ago, and it's great. And it's this whole discussion on what it could be. And most of the people were centering around that they thought glitter was used in industrial painting of boats. So just traditional boats, but then also military boats. And that if this is not biodegradable glitter like that you might make a reference to here in a little bit, but if it's actually metallic in some nature, then there's microplastics that are coming into our water. Hold on, I got a cough.
Yeah, I won't.
Oh shit,
I didn't know
sorry.
how long I should let you cough and just talk.
Then I posted about it, and all these people were doing different sort of comments, and some people were talking about the military and all the different ways it could be used. And I wonder, in the HARP of it all, and the DARPA of it all, and the simulation of it all, if it's snow. Like, are they using glitter for snow?
I like when you said this to me earlier, and I didn't think of it right when you said it, but later on, I remembered like somewhere in like 2018 or 19, before there was TikTok, people were going on Twitter and they were grabbing the snow and squeezing it all the way until it's almost like if you
And they were trying to
take,
light it on fire.
yeah, and it's almost like if you take a dough ball and you keep rinsing it in water, you can get it all the way down until it's just the little bit of like gluten left. It was almost like the snow was doing that. Where there was like a core.
And then there was a lot of people, especially when TikTok then did come out, where they were compacting their snow and then they were trying to light it on fire, and they were like holding fire underneath it and it wouldn't melt. And then it was like turning black. And I had a lot of actually people that were sending me videos back in the day that I was posting on my stories. So I don't know. Glitter shortage.
I think this idea, here's a few things, other just random thoughts that I have is blue beam. Like if
Oh,
you were going to
right.
have an alien invasion in the sky, you'd need a lot of glitter. And we also have the idea that Elon Musk for our Mars atmosphere, he always talks about how he'd use gold for the atmosphere. There's metal glitters, but there's all different kind of alloy glitters. It's not all microplastics. There's actually metals. So then I have this idea of like, well, they want our guns metal, they want our change metal, they want our like 9/11 towers metal, they want like all the real metal out of our country, they want our metal cars and give us plastic cars back. So it's like somewhere at the glitter that, but then I also think fake meat. They need to make it iridescent. Like they're meat grown
Okay,
in
Donner.
labs. Yeah,
They gotta make
it's
it shiny.
they have to, it's hard to make a robot look real. And
Well,
so
and you guys know like the red that you see in your meat, that's not what your meat looks like. That's nitrogen. Like they're just making it look more appealing to be
most of your
purchased.
meats died. Most of your salmon's died. If you don't live where your shit comes from, it's probably dyed a color. But yeah, I was thinking like small, like if they ground it, I was just thinking of my chef life. Like if they ground it to an even finer particle and like a food, if you just added a little dash to that, the spark it would add to a product, and they're allowed to get away with whatever in their products. So I would just think if I'm painting fake meat, I'm going to need a little iridescent, and that kind of human vibe. You said Met Gala earlier, and Met is meat. So then it's like Metropolis, a meatropolis for them. So yeah, there's something
So are they
bigger to it.
running out of glitter because they put it in our meat and they don't have enough glitter anymore to keep up the ruse? What if there's actually human meat in our meat and the glitter helps mask that in some sort of way? So now they're running out of glitter, so they've intentionally destroyed all of the meat packaging places, and now they're trying to introduce bugs into our diet because there's not enough glitter to make the world go round anymore.
Yeah, or all the, everything glitter that isn't
That's a
gold.
wild rabbit hole. I tried to take a string through them all.
Yeah, but it does seem really the anything that hits the zeitgeist that we're all kind of in on. I'm like, what are they doing here? What's the like big narrative? So there is something, and only one company is buying all the glitter. That part to me is crazy. One company, and they won't say what they're doing with it. And then you said Glitter X, and I'm like, I wonder if it's any relation to the SpaceX's or
Well,
the
it's like
Tom
glitter
Hanks
and
with an
then
X.
EX, so like glitter
Oh,
X
okay.
all together.
Okay.
But like what we were saying, we did a little live yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. So we've said this once before if you've heard it, but we're gonna say it again. In the Armageddon, what was that? NASA came out and shot a nuclear missile at that asteroid or whatever a couple weeks ago, and they proffered a video which was like the fakest CGI shit that I'd ever seen, and we were talking about like how is it that they offer that to us and they think like that we would be able to see that like as if there's some like light at the front of this nuclear warhead to make it like perfectly visible and filmed in space. And I got a lot of stupid comments that were saying like the sun's in space, like of course there would be light out there. Well, your air has to have like particles in it, and they're like in order for the light to like be absorbed in that way, like if there's nothing to absorb it, it's not going to hang on to anything. So if we're taking glitter and we're putting that up into the sky in that blue beam way, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's what's necessary to like project the laser at it just the right way.
Yeah, projection. Like, so you would have a screen. It would almost, if you could blend up all the particles and alloys small enough, could you project a screen into the sky so you could put your CGI on for Project Bluebeam? And then, in the same way, like Epcot or Back to the Future ride at Universal or any of these weird rides, they're like all, or the IMAX movie where your chair shakes when there's an explosion or dust blows out at you when it's cold, or like different things. The blue beam experience has to be kind of interactive. It doesn't have to be all the way. They just have to show that part on the movies. Look at aliens in this place, or look at overlords in this whatever shit show they show us on TV. But the illusion of it over our houses, or the color of the mist in the air, all that stuff has to be enough to get us to be like, we should go back into our houses and wait until the news tells us what to do.
But maybe it's not even blue beam, like maybe it's they need glitter just to like keep the fucking hologram up of the sky. Like maybe
Glitter.
we make it too complicated.
I know. Or it's just a word. Or it's just a word that they're speaking code to each other the same way
Yeah,
they
what does
always
glitter
are.
even mean?
Glitter. I know. I'll be on a dig for 2 hours later.
Cheney and I were having this conversation about color the other day. And we were just saying, like, I'll never know. I'll literally never know if the green on your screen is the same green that you see. Like, what if my red is your blue and your pink is my purple and my black is your white? Like, how do we know? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
It's fascinating.
It's so crazy. Our eyeballs alone are so crazy. It's crazy to me that we have different color eyeballs. Like, what's the purpose of our different color
Right. We were
eyeballs?
talking about this. I think, I don't know. It's got to be something about letting the light in.
Yeah. And I'm like, polarized lenses to see through murky water, you have brown glasses. To see through deep sea water, you have blue glasses. To see through, like, river water, you have green. There's all these different kinds of things. So I'm like, why wouldn't our eyes be the same? Like, are some of us cave dwellers by nature?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I would have to be like an evolutionary thing though. But if you had light eyes, would you have been kept away? I don't know.
I know. Are you better in the dark with, with light eyes, and better in the sun, or with dark eyes? And it's just crazy. Red hair is crazy to me. Like, why are all these old people, when you like look at them, these ancient things, these giants, these witches, Mary Magdalene, they're all redheaded, and that's the least minority on the planet. It
And
makes
they have
me
a
like,
higher pain tolerance. That's like a well-known
yeah,
thing about people with red hair.
yeah. I think there is a rabbit hole after rabbit hole on gingers and redheads, true redheads. Well, I think they're the second biggest minority on the planet. I think true green eyes is the most, and then redheads. So the green-eyed redhead, and you get the Irish. So I was thinking, like, even they say, we speak English. It's not quite England, but it's Englandish. It's not quite Spain, but it's Spainish. Like, it's just so Irish is like such a weird. You have the eye, you could think, but also the eye. You have the pyramid. It's like right there, and then all their Celtic stuff, all their redheads, all their lore. There's just like little parts of the world that I think those little weird lores are probably more true than the news or the history. So
Definitely.
I get so curious about that stuff. Green eyes. What's it for?
I always wanted to have green eyes, dark hair, and
What
green eyes.
grinds my gears? Like you were saying about all these other little things, these tropes that it's just so stupid. It makes me crazy that the world just lives on a 9 to 5, and this is what we're supposed to do. And if you don't sleep during these hours, you're not normal. And this is what normal is. And this is what a healthy diet is. And this is how many hours of sleep you have to have. And this is the block you have to have it. These are the things that make me crazy. And people like, oh, you're not healthy enough because you don't do these list of things. But the list of things is from some book or some doctor or some whatever guru that is telling you to do a thing. Like, no one trusts their own instrumentation at all. That why do you need 1/3 of sleep every, like, what is the math equation of that in your brain of like that's just the shit that makes me crazy. Like, that's the stuff that makes me like, everybody just accepts it and I'm weird. But if we were 1,000 years ago, somebody would keep the fire running. Somebody would walk around and make sure tigers weren't running in this bitch. Someone would be with the babies, being a wet nurse. Like, somebody would be, out hunting and gathering. Somebody would be, making sure the stew is still turning. Like, I don't know. Like,
all of those things would be you, my friend.
But I'm just like,
but for the wet nurse,
the whole world exists in sun time, in the sun, but then melanin. If you have too much melanin and you're in like an Alaska place, you'll moon burn. So it's almost like a proof. And some places, oh, it's 12 months or 6 months, it's just light, and the other 6 months is dark. Come on. 9 to 5. Everybody on the road at the same time.
9 to 5 makes me insane, truly. Like, getting up tomorrow, putting on my little suit, going to court, jumping up and down and arguing on behalf of someone. It's just so silly.
Then you're allowed Saturn day off and Sunday off. Those are your days that you're allowed off. And then you start the week on your moon day. It's just such a, what are we doing? And then after you do enough of those weeks, it's another holiday that everyone's like, it's a Hallmark holiday. But It's not, though. It's not a Hallmark holiday. It was created by your overlords, by Coca-Cola and your red Santa Claus. All your little holidays, every single one, your pagan overlords that you don't even know. But everything's satanic. But every single one of these holidays, I'm like, I
Yeah,
see a
everything's
magnet.
satanic, but I'm still praying to Ishtar on fucking Easter.
Or how is there quote unquote Black Friday after Thanksgiving? You should just be sitting with your family giving things. Oh, Cheney, Columbus, evil, blah. Okay. Can you just take the idea and like cook a meal and have a tradition with your fucking family where you spread some things that you don't have to sit there and go over this weird history they told you in your head over and over again, that history isn't true. Indian is the exact same word as indigenous person. Indigenous person just means spirit of the indie. So with the argument of idiocracy sometimes with people that they're saying they're making you do the same thing over and over again. And it's just like, no, I'm not taking. So it's Black Friday. Half of the cars in the parking lot all have magnets on the back that say keep the Christ in Christmas. Yet they're all in there mauling over each other, running over, killing people for a cheaper TV for their kid to make sure Santa Claus visits their good kid on time to keep. Bitch, I'm not taking the Christ out of Christmas. You are. Go home and spend time with your family. Eat some fucking pie, bitch.
I'm just always so surprised that like people need so many televisions. It's just like every year we have a new television to get it like a deal. Like I've had the same fucking Vizio since 2014.
We're Vizio twins, girl.
Vizio twins, girl.
We got the same TV.
I don't mean to like shut this off, even though we are approaching 2 hours.
Let's do it.
But my stomach hurts.
No worries.
I have to go to the bathroom.
You don't have to say that here. You don't have to
I
give
know.
that
I'm
to
just
them.
telling the people I have irritable bowel syndrome, and I got it from taking Accutane.
Yeah,
And I'm
fair
just in
enough.
pain.
Go do it.
No, we can end it up. I just like can't talk for like another 45 minutes.
No worries.
Fucking big pharma.
Yeah, big pharma. I know so many people on that Accutane, and there's so many issues that they have, like need eye drops sometimes because their eyes are dry and their lips cracked. They have to have chapstick every single day for the last 25 years.
The crazy thing about Accutane is how they're just like, hey, you got to get on birth control because this drug is so crazy. It's literally so crazy that should you get pregnant on accident, it'll literally put like a hole in your baby's head. Like,
yeah,
but hey, you should take this and you'll be just fine.
This is the number one reason they don't let pregnant ladies take anything ever. Or like they let them take all these other things. They load them up with things and load the babies up with things. But the number one reason is because they're such a quick incubator. People see the effects so quick. It's like it can't like they're like, let's wait a minute until we'll get all these other people to take it first and then we'll give it to them.
But like, what do you even think about the vaccine right now? Like I saw some like major bodybuilder died. Not major bodybuilder. I don't even know. Let me not say one way or the other. Bodybuilder and fitness author Doug Brignole has passed away at 63 years old. This is what this dude put on his own Facebook. Quote, April 4th, 2021. I have enough confidence in the vaccine based on my research to get it done. Those of you who think the vaccine kills people can use me as a test. If I die, you were right. If I don't die and have no ill effects, you were wrong and should admit it, at least to yourselves. Better yet, you should admit that you were misled and tell the world who misled you so other people can benefit by avoiding these fear mongers. That was that Doug Brignole guy that died, who was a bodybuilder.
I like to call him Doug the doornail.
I saw another, I can't remember.
Dead.
It was like a member of the House. Remember, somebody in Congress had required or was wanting to require vaccines, had helped get a bill passed, I think somewhere that was relating to children getting vaccinated. And he had required that his 14-year-old daughter get vaccinated and like went out and was like very proud about it. And then she died. I don't know. I tiptoe back and forth on like is this real? Is this fake? Is this a psyop? Are people, I don't know.
I know people that definitely were boosted and died dead as doornails. So it's like part of me, it's like, oh, this is that part. It's not real. The thing's not real. It maybe not, but it's like the sixth coincidence until it's impossible mathematically. It's like these were all kind of healthy people. Even that guy's 60, built. I'm like, it could be a big, cover of something else. Who knows what GNC products he was getting from China that there's fentanyl in
for
them.
sure.
But
I
who
mean,
knows?
was it the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah. And that's where it's like, I know enough people in my own life that there's no logical reason for it. They weren't half sick people. This is the only thing. So I don't know. And I believe from the research that I've done over the last 2 decades that every single one of those needles is there to cause ailments and strife inside you, and everything from mental impairments to sexuality to herpes to hepatitis. Who knows? HIV and AIDS and colds and flus. I think it all comes from them. I think your body having a sniffle or a sore throat or a runny eye, sometimes that stuff happens. Things get in those places and your body gets rid of it. But everything else I think is from them. And I think that Western medicine and doctors, indoctrinated doctors, they're not there to fix you. So I just can't, they don't know anything about their own thing. We had doctors come out and tell us that that was bad. So I don't know. I feel like it's always been free will. What church you follow, what your church leaders are telling you. And so for people, it's like TV.
Well, if somebody wanted to worship at the Church of Cheney, where would they go?
They would go to projectcheney.com or Cheney_in_wonderland on Instagram. And you have to put the whole thing in, or Project Cheney on Instagram and Project Cheney and Cheney Project on Twitter.
Let's see, where am I these days? mymaria777.com. Same for the Instagram, same for the Twitter, same for the old True Social, except I don't post there. You can also find my backup, the Oracle 333. But right now, guys, Maria is not shadow banned, knock on wood. We are being nice and sweet to the Instagram overlords. I am officially a YouTube paid channel now. I've made 16 cents from all of the videos up so far.
It's 17 right now.
Exactly, right? So here's my
because you're cute.
Yes. Here's my plea to somebody who just loves me and loves you and loves this podcast. Perhaps you're somebody who consumes it audio only. Totally get that. I'm that type of consumer as well. But, maybe you're at work and maybe you just turn these on one day in the background and let them play. Because the more hours I have, the more my metrics go up and the more I don't have to put my fucking little suit on and go to court anymore. So that's just my housekeeping plea to you.
Yeah, I love it. We have big plans.
Go put this on repeat and watch it all the time.
I know. You have to set your YouTube to just play. I feel like every time, it used to be Joe Rogan. Every time I went back to my YouTube, if I just let it play and I'm cleaning my house, I'm like, why is Joe Rogan always on no matter what I put on? Now it's Andrew Schultz. No matter what I put on, it's always Andrew Schultz, the new Joe Rogan.
What is the emoji going to be? So while you think, if you've made it to this part of the podcast, you are what I consider an elite member of the class. Now, I don't always know if you've listened to the podcast, so show your solidarity with the class and put the following emoji up somewhere where Cheney and I can see it. DMs are nice, but public would be preferable.
Can I give you 2 and ask your opinion on the 2 and you pick?
Sure.
The scooter or a golf emoji?
We got to do the golf emoji. You guys. Okay, we'll talk personal shit now that we're at the end of it and my stomach is feeling better. Guys, going back to like the beginning of this conversation, like, do I stop wearing my heart on my sleeve? Like, do I keep doing exactly what I'm doing? Like, it was all full circle to like feel like that was, I guess, the lesson that I didn't completely describe in the beginning. That like what I've gathered is that like the last year for me was feeling like the magic of the universe. And I had a bunch of lessons to learn and I made a bunch of mistakes, but the universe showed me that like magic still exists.
Were you more honest than you've ever been? Like, did your words come out to the other person of your expectations in the immediate, or not even your expectations of just who you are? Did you find
This
yourself more
last
honest?
year, yeah, this
That
last year has been me just fucking like, okay, I make Maria 4 years ago and I'm LARPing on the internet and then I'm being myself in real life at the same time. And now finally I'm wearing both of those hats at the same time. And I don't care to like be myself and tell you what I think and be weird. But yeah, the last year for me has finally like spiritual growth, some like self-awareness, and like really trying to implement all of that in real time and like be honest and be myself. It's been weird, but it's been like nice too. Like, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm accepting. This is what I'm not accepting. And maybe that was like the whole thing with me and fucking Ray, that like it was too much. I was asking too much that he could handle.
I even find just in my everyday life at my job, in my everyday life with my wife, in my everyday life with my friends, like it isn't always, it's sometimes it's awkward. It feels like I can't believe these words are allowed, like they're coming out. And they're big words or big thoughts or big feelings. And it's like, well, we're here now. It's just like such an own of awkward in the immediate of like, we're just going to say it. Like, we're just going to do it. This is how I feel, or I don't like that, or no, or yes, or, ooh, whatever. It's just like going with it a little, like they're always there. Like, how many times in your life I feel like this is where some of our traumas come from childhood, because we're not allowed to say them. But then we get to this point that we think we're LARPing this character that the world wants you to be, that then you don't let yourself say them. But they're always kind of there.
I had put something on my story today just asking you guys to send us like an audio message or two, and nobody really did that. And I'm gonna let that go for now.
I did get one actually that I could play, but I'm like, nope, because my Maria needs to catch up with the Real Housewives.
Well, I just wanted to say somebody did ask, and I was gonna say it, and I feel like I'm gonna pronounce her name incorrectly. Niam, Niam, Niamh. She sends me voicemail sometimes, but she was asking for advice. And I know we've talked about this before, but let's talk about it again. Advice on like having these types of conversations with people that you know, and like not being judged and feeling crazy. And I wrote this down. This is the crazy that I wanted to come back to full circle. You guys, crazy is a matter of perception. And that's just it. Like, somebody else's perception of you being crazy, like, that's the same thing that we do sometimes with like doing stuff for others. And the discussion I have, like, if I'm worried that you think I'm crazy, I'm just worried that like I think I'm crazy, kind of, really. And you're not, like, I don't know. That's just a silly subjective definition that like, who fucking cares? Like, if you're not around somebody that you can have a good conversation with, then like, what you doing? But at the same time, I have no friends in real life that I can talk about this stuff. And that's why I'm here with you.
I feel like the emperor has no clothes story. If we all sit around and pretend that shit, like me and you have these conversations, like, are we taking crazy pills? What's everyone doing? And that's where in the real world, there's definitely an extreme of me that I feel like my audience or your audience gets to know, or people that follow me on crazy sites, that it's really me and I get to be my most amount of self. I feel like in this position, which is kind of weird. It's kind of
This
in
is
a
kind of weird. Yeah, you're
yeah.
telling me.
Dude, like when we're talking about crazy of it all, like we're sitting here in
Yeah,
these
you
two
guys, you're
bucks.
not doing anything crazy. Come on. Comparatively, I talk about my love life on the internet all the time.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, what's happening? Like these anyway, but like just sitting in the world around quote unquote like 3D. I don't even like normal, because then it's like, what are we not normal? Like supernatural? Isn't that just natural? It's still just natural. Whatever. If I listen more, if I'm more objective, and sometimes people are just talking about the weather, or like they're having 10-minute conversations about a gutter. Like
No,
people
okay.
are
Yes. This is something you've and I've talked about recently. I am so lucky to have you. And I am so lucky that I can call you and we can talk for hours on end about everything from like love to laughter to fucking time travel. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have anyone to talk about this stuff with. And the depth of my conversations, they're this deep right now, but they would slowly be more and more and more shallow. So my advice to the person like looking for advice on how do I talk to my friends about this stuff, I think you know the friends that are going to be like open to it, and you know the friends that are going to think that you're batshit crazy. I'm always an advocate of the Socratic method, and instead of trying to throw facts at somebody's face, just asking questions. Isn't it weird? Haven't you ever thought about this? Have you considered that type of thing?
Mhm.
But you also might be me and have 40,000 something people that follow you on Instagram, and I don't have anyone to talk to about this shit. I mean, I have my dad. Don't get me wrong. But I don't have like someone in my like that I see all the time.
But in an interesting way, because I know you're this kind of person as well, where you can find yourself in a big room of people and find yourself in the corner with like an old man talking about history, or like shooting the shit, like, where you're, if you are objective and are listening more to people, they usually have nuggets why they're talking about the gutters or the weather or their last time they went to the hospital. It's like when you listen to these people, you're like, oh my God, what are they even wasting breath with these? Like, they don't even know how to have conversation. But we all did just get out of prison. To be fair, we were all locked up in prison for a few years. And so we're all a little socially retarded. I think people give you this like little nugget of what they love. You hear it and then just ask a question about that again. They're like, oh, I took a trip to blank once. You can even hear the excitement change in their voice. Ask about that. Just, you sometimes have to remind them who they were, or remind them what they love. But if you can see their aura change a little, you can hear that excitement, follow that road. And then sometimes you meet a submarine pilot, or you meet somebody that sailed to Antarctica, and then you get to ask these questions about the conspiracies you think, with people with real eyes and real things, where they're like, I had my sailboat up against walls and my that were taller than my mast. And when they just say this and they're not conspiracy theorists, and it was their real eyes, you're like, oh, you don't even have to wake them up to anything. They're validating to you things about the real world. And so I feel like there's so many people out there that have great life. They've been to these museums. Like, you went to a great museum in New York. They've
Oh, I
seen
should
these
have done that. Yeah.
paintings. Yeah, I thought you were like, we ended up on a different subject, but I think that was such a cool thing. Like, when you get to touch history and observe it and observe other people seeing it, I just think it's special. And sometimes people's stories of those journeys and pilgrimage, where you don't have to wake everyone, like, we're past that point now. Just see what piece of the puzzle they have for you. Like, stop. Everybody doesn't have to be such a mouthpiece all the time. Be an earpiece for a little while.
I also want to say, and I know I say shit like this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. Like, I was in New York, and it's all about like stopping and like smelling the roses and enjoying life. Like, if if I tell you anything, that is my advice from this episode. So I keep having to remind myself over and over again that like I can do whatever the fuck I want to do, and that I don't need to be restricted by like time and expectations and shit. So I'm in New York City and I wanted to go to the Museum of Modern Art, and I took an edible and I got a little high and I went. One of my favorite songs in the entire world is Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. And so I've got the Rite of Spring on repeat. It's like a 25-minute piece. I'm high. I'm at the fucking Museum of Modern Art. And whether or not art is a psyop and money laundering and whatever, it was just peak fucking existence. Just like I was standing there and I was taking in this Jackson Pollock and I was looking at Picasso and I was looking at the Starry Night, and I was just like, this is what life is about. Like, this is this moment. And it was so fucking fun. But even if, as I was having these moments, I kept like, I'd look down at my clock and I'd get worried about the time. And I would like have to be like, Maria, you can stay here for 6 fucking hours if you want to. Just like chill, take it down a notch. I think there were a lot of people there. There were far too many people, like far too fucking many people there. But
You're more of an empath too than you ever allow yourself to be. So that many people and that much energy in paintings, it probably did feel away. And so you kept doing your normal 3D things. Like, I have to go to court. That's an energy. Nope. I have to, like, there was probably something inside of you.
But damn, it was peak life. And I need more of that in my life.
It was really cool in a good way.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like looking at this like cubism, analytical cubism that was introduced by Picasso, and it reminded me of like a buffering image. And it, like, when I take a psychedelic and I look at somebody's face, it's like I'm looking at it from like all these angles at one time. And it was finally like a way for me to describe that. I'm like reading about analytical cubism and I'm like, oh shit, like I'll watch television like ever so slightly sometimes on psychedelics, and I feel like you can like see the demon's face sometimes, and you're seeing it from all these different angles. And I was like, dude, this is what this is. Like, fucking Picasso is probably just on mushrooms back in the day, right before he painted something like this.
It's pretty neat though, just thinking of art in general and thinking of the time travel of art and then like the me magic of now or the cave paintings of back when. And just like, what does it all mean? What, like, if everything's so intentional that a guy like Stanley Kubrick would have one Volkswagen change color to say fuck you to Stephen King, like if everything's so intentional and every bit, and everyone that makes a meme, they put a little thing here and they do a thing and they change a color, like everything, a voodoo doll. It's just like all these paintings, like sometimes it's movement and sometimes it's emotion and sometimes it's smell and sometimes it's color, like the amount of things that are represented, or a time, or and then the symbol behind it. I'm like, it's so, I've heard music in my life that's brought emotion. The first time art does that is like it's like kind of one of those same similar things.
I've had these thoughts lately, like, do you ever get so overwhelmed like with all the music that you want to listen to in the world? Like, I want to listen to so many things sometimes at the same time. Like, I just have this list of like, I want to listen to this and I want to listen to this, and I just get overwhelmed at the possibility.
Do you ever have things that you don't know why? It's not because it's good, bad, or indifferent, but you hear it and you don't even realize it's something that you're like, but now I'm so objective. Like, I heard the tune at the beginning of Grease, that like, it's the word
Grease
that
is
you
the word that you heard.
yeah, that like the
It's got
Bee
groove, it's
Gees.
got feeling.
Yeah, that was like, as a kid growing up, I hated it, but now I don't really want to hear any of the songs from Grease really ever. Like, they're just overplayed in my brain. But something about that part hit. I made the problem and I feel like that kid was on the radio or in a grocery store or something. And it was like, I love this emotion that I feel from this stupid song right now. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's such a stupid, but I like how certain things have that kind of nostalgia. And it's not because it's
Grease is
bad,
the
good, or
word that you
indifferent.
heard.
Yeah. Grease. That's a whole nother.
I don't know. I just want people to be nice.
I do too. And I just want people to let other people feel themselves out, learn and grow. It, even if it is for that person discovering the love of Jesus Christ, or discovering yoga, or discovering the simulation theory, the idea that they mean, or thinking about flat earth or hollow earth, or just expanding whatever it is. Like, who cares? Who cares what someone, if they're not hurting anyone and they're grown up and they make it through their day, who cares anyway? It's like everyone's just so, they have no hobbies anymore. They don't create anymore. They have, there used to be this idea, if we were in an ancient city now, like past tribes, it wouldn't be who regurgitated information the best. It wouldn't be who had the most books, and it wouldn't be who knew all the information out of the books. It would be who could sit and come up with a new idea that no one had ever heard before. And no one's a thinker anymore. They're a regurgitator guised as a thinker. They're LARPing, they're intelligent, but really they're just regurgitating somebody else's thought. Nobody's actually trying to create a new thought, and it's not bad to think things. Just be
Not bad to
nice.
think things. One of the
Just be
reasons
nice.
why Cheney gave you guys the golf emoji though is because I was sitting at the very golf course we were talking about today, because my grandmother's property is like on, oh, it's on the 17th hole. I told Cheney that today, and she was like, shut the fuck up.
Because you have members of your audience, and I've had people tell me too that have been like, what if my Maria's cue? Like, they're like, what about this glittery red pill? And I'm like, oh, simulation. Wouldn't that be an odd handler?
And then I tell you that I'm sitting on the 17th hole today. You guys, my mom has 2 hound dogs, and one of the hound dogs had, it like looked, her name is Rosie, and she looked like she had treed something. And so I'm talking to Cheney on the phone, and when I talk on the phone, normally I'm a pacer, so I'm just like pacing outside at my mom's house, and Rosie just like will not leave this tree alone. So I'm like, come on, P, we're gonna go walk up the hill towards the golf course. And I get up there, and Rosie doesn't have anything going on, and so I sit down, and I brought this joint with me, and so I'm just like laying there talking to Cheney, like telling her how much I love this property and what it means to me and how I'm going to build a house there one day. And I'm fucking like taking selfies of myself and like taking pictures of it to send to her because I can't FaceTime her at the time. And I never go sit up on the property like this because my mom has this whole nice outdoor area. And I hear some people behind me, and that's normal because it's the golf course, and I knew people had just been on 16, and I knew that they were teeing off, and I heard the cart girl come up behind me, and she stopped, and I'm still talking to Cheney, and I hear my fucking ex's, like, Ray's voice is right behind me, and I felt so small, like I was in fucking middle school again, like looking like a freak show sitting up at the edge of the golf course.
Smoking your little joint like a bad kid.
Smoking my joint, hanging with my dogs, just looking like a freak. And I'm just like, oh my God, Cheney. Oh my God, Cheney. Oh my God, Cheney. Freaking out. I can't turn around. Can't
Like,
turn
you're
around.
just a grown woman chilling with her dogs on a
But
hill.
then I was like, wait a sec. This is my land.
Yeah.
This is my golf course. I can be here as much as I fucking want. But goddamn, it was so awkward.
It was so random.
Awkward. But it goes back to the whole mean thing. I ran into this motherfucker Friday night, and he wouldn't say a word to me. And I haven't been, I get sad, I get emotive, but like I haven't been truly like heart hurt in a long time. And for someone to completely disregard you, and like I was just like hoping this whole time, and then he threw my heart up and fucking hit it with a baseball bat. Just
Heart pinata.
Rough weekend. Yeah, I'm a fucking pinata.
You need a heart pinata for your birthday.
But that's why the emoji that she selected is the golf one.
4.
Or
Yeah. That's what you should just yell anytime in life when you already know it's going to happen. You're like, I'm setting myself up to break my own heart.
tech support.
Yeah. What is that? It's the masochist.
We like to break our own hearts, don't we? Is it
Yeah.
the only way we know how to feel something?
I don't know. I do feel like I'm trying to be this week. I've really started to try to be present and really grateful. I do experience joy.
Okay, hold on. I got to back up a little bit. So, you
Uh-huh.
guys, Friday night happens. I'm so sad this weekend. My heart's hurt. I'm telling Cheney about it. I'm just like, how could someone treat me this way? Like, how are people like this? How did like you love this person? They tell them that they love you, and then like you never talk to them again. So I'm just like going on and on and on about it with Cheney. And then somehow she and I start talking about my dating app idea.
Oh,
And
this
then
part was funny.
no, this is like my parting words to the class. Like maybe the best advice you and I have had in a long time. We were talking about like dating apps and if we had an objective like dating app right now, like what it would say about ourselves. And then we shifted it on Ray. And Cheney was like, okay, if you were writing like an objective paragraph on Ray right now, like for him, for his own dating profile, like what would you write? And it was like middle-aged man obsessed with like golf, like can't commit. It was just something funny like that. And I went through and I like gave this description of this individual to Cheney. Like if you knew this person like right as you started dating them, what would you say? And the way that I like wrote it and talking about his
It was
flaws.
so it was just if you whoever is your crush of the person that doesn't treat you the way you need to be treated or doesn't see you like the little gift that you are, or makes you act a way that isn't your natural authentic way because you're trying to like be like pick me, pick me, pick me, like something in your inner child. Um it was uh yeah, I totally lost my train of
No,
thought. Totally.
if you're like,
But
what
I,
if you're in this position like
yeah.
me and you're hurt and somebody's hurt you and they don't want you and they keep pushing you away and you can't understand
Yeah.
like why somebody's not picking you and you're fighting for this person and you want it so bad, and then you actually make this like objective list of like what's going on with them. So like a couple weeks ago I learned that Ray got drunk, threw up, like got out of his bed and threw up on the floor and the wall, and that he hasn't done anything about it. And he went out of town for 3 weeks. And so it had been like 35, 36 days at this point. And he was like almost bragging about how he hadn't cleaned up his vomit and it was like starting to blend into the carpet. So I was writing this thing for Janie today, and it's like a middle-aged man refuses to clean up his own vomit. Like,
and
I
your
just
little
kept
white knight
going.
immediately, even thinking about that when he was telling you this information, how you immediately your white knight, your divine masculine. Have you thought about a cleaning company? Have you thought about like no, he doesn't even think about the vomit on his floor. But I do think if you can objectively see the person, like take off all the glitter, no pun
Take out
intended.
like no glittery red pill.
Yeah, no glittery red pill when you're looking at like at this point in our lives and at this point in age. Objectively look at the person as if you were looking at them on the fake dating app that you make yourself for the fake dating profiles.
Like
How
if
would
they
it
had to
look?
be objectively honest about themselves, what would their dating profile say? And I want you to go literally write it down, because after I said this out loud, I was like, oh, why are you so
And how
upset
things
about
have a
this?
title. It was like annoyed when my mom tells me she loves me. It's just like little things that like whatever
like,
way they
has no
look.
sex drive, isn't interested in like anything other than himself. And I'm like saying all this stuff to Cheney, and I'm just like, why am I upset about this? Why am I like in my feels that someone's not picking me when like I'm the spice in this life?
And in the same, if this is the exercise that you do after you're done with that one, do a real objective dating profile about yourself. And I bet
What would your tagline be?
yeah, objective, like make yourself laugh that only you and your bestie say, whatever.
Wait, what did you say mine was?
I don't know. Let me look. Let me look. But if you do it about yourself, you're probably a lot better on paper than this person who's treating you in a way.
Remember, I told you needed to say it.
I know. And now I'm like, I have to go back.
Hold on. I'm going to wait.
Slob kebab.
I wish I could do the one for you, but we can't do that one.
It took a few, but then when he got me, damn it. The other good thing you said, mine won't for some reason go any further. Oh, it was yesterday. So it did go back to it. One other thing this is the thing I'm at in the text that I just thought this was such a killer analogy. And it's exactly what we're talking about. And I'm a gal who is fond of an analogy. You made the idea of the relationship with Ray akin to a cat playing with a fake mouse. And that the only one providing the energy to the fake mouse is the cat. Like it's making it play. It's making it exciting. Okay, tell me. I see you were ready.
This is what you found. This is what you said about me. I'm going to play it.
Your an objective dating app would say, I just want true love and someone to spit in my mouth.
I just want true love and somebody to spit tequila in my mouth. Exactly.
I sound like such a I'm like, oh my God.
It's so true though. No, what we were talking about was when excuse me, when you like bring something, you hear people say this sometimes, that like the relationship was fun, the relationship was exciting, the relationship was all these things in the beginning because that was you. Like that was you bringing this to it. It wasn't this other person. This other person is, and like you're the one with the spice. You're the one like that's fun and interesting and fascinating and this type of thing. And so in that context, I was saying today that like I feel like a cat and I want to fall in love, but I am bored of everyone that I meet. And so because I'm so bored and because like nobody plays with me the way I want to be played, I pick these like mice that are like dying. And I like they're in submission in some way. And so when I get bored, I like play with them and I like swat them around and I'm like, play with me. But they're dead and they're dying. So like they're not going to play with me. So like I play with them and I think that I have this like incredible, fascinating time. But really, like they were always dead and dying. Like I was the fun one. I was the interesting one. And so I just feel like I'm this cat and I'm like playing with my dead mouse most of the time.
Yeah.
And why am I so attached to that dead mouse when they don't really do shit for me?
I don't want you to read mine directly. I was playing it back through my head, like really objectively of whatever my dating profile.
The one I said for you, no, we can't say that out loud. Sorry, guys, you wouldn't get it.
Oh yeah, I guess part of it.
Yeah,
it's too many layers. It would be the beginning of a whole nother show. It has to be at the beginning of a show to unpack it. Otherwise, it just comes across as like.
Somebody said girls never had a real laser pointer before. Ain't that the damn truth?
Yeah. Or one of the sticks with a feather. Like, will someone just drag
Somebody
it
just
slow
do
enough and then take
something.
it fast?
Okay, I do have court in the morning, so I do have to go. But this was fun.
It was a fun show.
Thanks
was
for
a fun
playing in the
Sunday.
chat, guys. You don't have anything else to say, Jamie?
I mean, bye bye.
You're just sitting there like doing your eyebrows.
Well, I thought you
My-
were done. I thought you were
My
about
new
to turn it off.
Botox is in, so I can't raise my eyebrows.
I never know. I never know when people are turning off their stream. I just pause.
Well, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. You know I love you.
I love you back. It's always fun.
All right, guys, this was episode 99. Thanks for hanging out as long as you did. We love you.
Bye bye. Did you just turn off the sound?